Welcome to Launceston Arena for Bupa TSL Round 9 action between the Clarence Roos and the North Launceston Bombers. Nice stake down here in the State South, and what should be an interesting contest between, well, one of the real premiership fancies in North Launceston, reigning premiers, and Clarence, a young side that are just looking to find their groove in 2019. I'm Damien Gill, bringing this one live to you, and alongside me is Cam Brown.
Yeah, good afternoon, Damo. Looking forward to this one, North Launceston and Clarence. As you mentioned, two teams at different stages of their development, and if we have a look at the latter, North Launceston have only lost the one game this season against Lauderdale. Apart from that, their form's been really strong, including a big win last week against the Tigers. And Clarence, we know they've been blooding a lot of youngsters. It's a different look about their playing group this season. They've had the one win. They've been competitive at different stages, but I think the challenge for them today is to bring a four-quarter effort.
It certainly is. As both teams warm up, we've had one late change, Cam Brown. We should look through the teams. Here's Clarence. The only change to what is on screen is Lewis Johnson is in. Making way for him is Proprotny. What do you make of the Roos lineup?
Well, it's a developing team, isn't it? James Holmes, we know, he's been a star of the competition, very brave in the air. I like the look of Adrian Butterworth. We've been real keen on him, the way he plays his foot. He's an attacking defender who'll try and intercept mark and really run and carry the footy. So I think he's been a really good introduction for him. It's an opportunity for young Beerley today. His father actually played senior footy with Clarence going back in the early 90s as well. We know the coach across half-back. Ethan Jackson, I thought he was really good last week for the Devils, so an opportunity for him. You'd love him to win a bit of the footy today, Damo, and if he can be really clean and have a little bit of have a bit more polish about his disposals, that'll go a long way, I think, for Clarence today. Bushner across half-forward, he's a bit of a tease at times, isn't he? We look at him and he's got some fantastic athletic ability, and you think, gee, he could take a game on for the Roos, so let's hope it happens today. He has got some versatility. Cox will probably spend a little bit of time up forward, I would have thought, for Clarence. They get Neil back, and then players like Jones, Bailey, they've been really seasoned campaigners for the Roos for a long time, and they've got a bit of depth on the bench. We know it doesn't mean a lot these days, Damo, with the way rotations and the like. It's just a starting position, but the Roos is it's still a young team, but there is a bit of experience about that group.
Big job for Matt Lynn today. I believe he's going to be given the job of Brad Cox-Goodyear. So that'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. I probably wouldn't want to get out of bed if I knew I had the job on Brad Cox-Goodyear.
Well, he's just such a dangerous player, and he looks fit. We're hearing that he had a really good pre-season, but where he can hurt you so much is he's just got that powerful left foot kick, and then he can go forward. He's very strong in one-on-one contests. Very rarely gets knocked off the ball. I think he kicked 5 last week, best on ground display. Regularly kicks multiple goals, whether that is inside 50 or as a running midfielder. So he's one of the stars of the competition. So as you mentioned, it'll be a really big task today for Ling.
And they call Ling, just for your knowledge, Cam Brown, the big hairy Roo.
Is that right?
So a bit like Cam Mooney, the big hairy cat, but the big hairy Roo.
Well, he'll have an opportunity to go well today. North Launceston, a couple of changes for them too. There are a couple of the kids that have come back in from the Mariners, or I should say the Devils. Mansell and Simpson, both their dads, talking about father-son, play for North Launceston as well. So an opportunity for them to come back. But we love the work of Egger last year, didn't we? Just so brave and courageous. And there's been a bit of a different look about some of those players across half-back too, Damo.
Yeah, it's tell you what, that's one thing North Launceston have done really well. They've just kept themselves in the frame and in the premiership fancy by going out and plucking some of these types out of the competitions below. Davies, Van Buren have been really good inclusions into this setup, and I've liked what I've seen from them. Tepper as well has been a really handy in from out of the NTFA, and it's good to see it's good to see McCulloch out there have a real big impact for North Launceston, because we did see them go down, as you mentioned a little earlier, to Lauderdale down at the tip, and they lacked a real key target that day. So I think his inclusion is important, and we've spoken at nausea about Brad Cox-Goodyear and what he brings to the table, and Taylor Whitford much the same. A fantastic player, whether it's in the centre of the ground or forward.
And we know how good Ponting is, what a terrific season he had last year. Alex Lee has been in terrific form the last couple of weeks. And Bannister at centre-half forward, he's an underrated player, isn't he? Probably gets under the guard, plays a bulletin type role for them and can kick multiple goals. Another opportunity for Ollie Sanders, Adam Sanders' young boy as well. So they're giving some opportunities for some youngsters today, albeit they've got some seasoned campaigners that played a lot of footy together.
So how do you see this one shaping up, Cam Brown? You'd have to fancy North Launceston, but I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before.
I think it was last year.
I think it was last year. Clarence got North Launceston on this very ground and sent a bit of a shiver through the competition, that did, at that point in time. I don't know, maybe they can bring something today that stacks up against the best in North Launceston, but they're going to need, I think, some of their experienced types to really lift. I don't think we've seen the best of Jake Cox for a long time now.
No, and he would probably need to kick 4 or 5 goals, you think, without putting too much pressure on him personally for the Roos. I think they've only kicked over 100 points once this season. That was against North Hobart. So, you know, developing team, sometimes it is hard to get on the scoreboard with lots of goals and the like. So today they'd be after a fast start, I reckon. North Launceston, bigger bodies, they probably want to stamp their imprimatur on the game really early. But Clarence playing at home, we know they're a different proposition there. So looking forward to this one. It'll be a really good audit to see where this young Clarence group are at.
Yeah, I'm excited by Clarence in a lot of respects because it's been a bit of a regeneration and we're seeing a very different look team in terms of the Roos setup. And I know at the outset of the season, Jeremy Webley didn't make a big point to go out and recruit because in recent years they have, but they just haven't retained the players. So he was about giving opportunity to the kids, and that's what they're doing. And it's a big test up against North Launceston, isn't it?
It is. And look, there's some players, young players that didn't get into the team today. Sam Banks is one of those. Noah Holmes is a boy we might see later on in the year, the brother of James Holmes, who's just made the state under 16 team. So I think some of these boys will get some more opportunities in the back half of the year.
So we're in the middle of the ground, ready to kick things off for round 9, Bupa TSL action. Umpire Sam Bridges in the middle. Some flashy wheels for an umpire, running with a bit of orange on him as it goes up. Alex Lee brings it to the fall. Good tackle from Jackson, spills out. Tepper rides a tackle, he's in trouble. Swung too many times, says the umpire. Good start from the coach, Jeremy Webley.
Going to say exactly that. Really good tackle too by Ethan Jackson in the middle of the ground.
So Webley looks ahead. He's got Jackson offering short. Goes longer than that. Fisted away by Young. Falls down. Green eyes off. Coming through. Well, was North Launceston looking for Simpson. It's picked up by Bailey. Swung a couple of times. Lost the footy. Kicked it off the ground. Umpire let it go. Jones eyes it off. Comes to Jackson. Tapped on by Howlett. Picked up now and will be brought out of defence rather by North Launceston, kicking the Eager direction. It's a good mark taken by Holmes, running a bit of headwear, drops it off for Webley. That's a beautiful kick onto the chest of an intended target right there in Smith. He didn't complete the transaction. They'll make their way out now, North Launceston. Cox Goodyear. Good kick for his coach Whitford, who picks it up. Kicking direct, looking for Bannister, bouncing away. Bannister might let it run. No, he soccers. And he soccers the first of the day for North Launceston.
Yeah, the first inside 50, and it was clean, wasn't it? Taylor Whitford had a little bit of room out the back and just had the presence of mind to kick it in front of his teammate who was running on to the open goal there. And in the end, sock it off the ground. Good start for North Launceston. Does help it when you get it in the hands of your better players. We know what a great decision maker the coach for North Launceston, Taylor Whitford, is. Starting inside 50 today.
Well, it actually looks like the big hairy Roo might not be on Cox Goodyear. It looks like he's just minding the coach Whitford at the moment. So he hasn't got the big job we thought, but he's still got a very, very big task. He started hot as the coach. That bounced. He's swatted away by Lee, looking for Cox Goodyear. Well picked up by Jones. I think he might have been legged.
Clarence starting with Jake Cox full forward.
So Brady Jones, the helmeted skipper. As Chambers offering very short. I think he's going to go long in that Cox direction. He's just undersold the kick. Cox arrives, hands off. Weberly now. It'll trickle over. Out the full, in fact.
He just couldn't quite get the penetration in his kick there on that occasion, Brady Jones. It was a good lead from Cox.
So Van Buren. Been a handy inclusion into this North Launceston setup. Just short of his intended target in Tepper. It's picked up. Jones again having a hot start off the outside of the boot. It worked okay for Clarence. Now with Green. Green will look in the Howlett direction. Howlett has Harper offering short. Juggling grab. So Harper looks up. Again, a lot of leads from Clarence. They kick long, and it's Holmes that's worked forward, but he just guarded a bit of space that Neil ran into really nicely and takes the grab.
I actually prefer him forward for mine, Damo. I know we saw him play a couple of weeks ago down back on Aiden Grace from memory, but he is someone that can kick multiple goals. Just gives him that big target.
He's got some attributes, hasn't he, Chris Neal? So he'll cross paint of 50. Important kick this for Clarence. Off the left peg, it's coming back, shaping well. Terrific kick, Chris Neal. Fires back for the Roos. Scores level here early at Blunston Arena.
Yeah, good effort from the Roos. They actually transitioned the ball from one half forward flank right to the other, and they had different players working across the side of the ground. Jackson was involved with a handball. We saw Howlett and then Harper, and a nice contested mark and finish there from Chris Neal, playing forward today, and gets on the board, being picked up by Jay Foon. So he's got a pretty good opponent that he'll be matching up on today, if that's the case.
So back in the middle, scores level. Good contest early. Bailey now brings it down. And make their way through. Jones again. He's had a hot start. It's with Howlett. Inside 50 now. Howlett has to get the kick right. Just slips through the fingers of Harper. They'll work it out with a web of handballs. It's probably a free kick. Not rewarded. Out the back is Bailey. He's got a problem. Whacks it on the boot. High up and under. Sitting underneath was Ponting. So Ponting to transition. Looking for Foon. Sold Foon short, really. Punching on was Bailey. Went to mop up his own footy. It will be brought in now. Inside 50. Almost for Clarence. Just punching away. They might be on here. It was almost from Smith. Make their way out, North Launceston. Cox Goodyear. And now Event. He just misses his intended target in Egger, with good pressure applied by Brady Jones. So Jones pretty busy early, Brownie.
He has. He's got his hands on the footy. A couple of nice centre bounce clearance involvements.
So Wall drops it down. Clint Riley gets it through back for Wall. Coming in now for Lewis Johnson. Laid into this side. He's almost taken there by Rick DeSolder. Not quite. Feeding out a handball. It was Bushner. He'll come back again. Clarence good pressure to start this one. It's a hot footy. Riley somehow gets it out of traffic. Weberly, a loopy handball out the right. We've gathered by Howlett. He'll feed out. He's got a couple on the outside. In the end, Green just trying to kick it out of the air. Harper on the outside finds Weberly. Weberly inside 50. A big booming boot. Nailed!
Well, that's his second contested mark inside 5 or 6 minutes in this game. It's good centering kick from the coach, which gave Neil the opportunity to run and fly at the footy, and that's what he can do.
Well, he's looking on early. As we said before, he's got some really nice attributes as Neil. He wheels around. That's a shocking kick. A minor score.
Yeah, he'd like to have that one over again, run around on his left foot. I'd almost like to see him back himself in. He kicked a beautiful set shot a couple of minutes earlier.
So Foon to Fletcher Bennett, who returns the favour, and then Foon goes long, and McCulloch just swallows one. Drops it off for his coach in Whitford. Whitford now looking long in the Bannister direction. Did well to protect his space. He's got Rushton riding shotgun, who gives it back to him. Bannister inside 50 now. It'd be a hard one from the pocket. He squeezes out a little grubber, and that's well put through by James Holmes.
The danger there, Clarence would have been looking for Jason Bailey to get up and thump that one out of bounds. It got over the back. That's where North Launceston got their first goal from that type of inside 50 involvement.
Beautiful kick in from Jason Bailey, and then you were just speaking about, but Ball couldn't take the grab. It's going to be a free kick. Just a little over the top was Jeremy Webley, giving away a free kick for Liam Davies. Davies inside 50 now, slipping through the fingers. I'll try to work it out, but it falls to Bannister. This kick, again, is offline.
She probably had more time than that.
So 1-1-7 plays 1-2-8. North Launceston have looked really dangerous every time they've got it inside forward 50. A little too easy, in fact, I reckon, Brownie.
Yep, agree.
So Bailey again from full back. Powers long beyond the arc. Davies is sitting under this one. Doesn't take the grab. Lee becomes a crummer. Drops it out the back. Whitford with some space. Just nudges one inboard. It's Mansell now. Dinking wide. And it's not gathered. Through the fingers and out it goes. So it'll be thrown in. Forward 50.
Got some confidence on both sides of his body, Ryan Mansell. That was a left foot kick on that occasion.
I think it might have even
Actually,
been Ollie Sanders.
Ollie Sanders.
It was. They look a bit similar from this far away as it comes in. Over the top. Was well done by Edmondson, who's running some headgear today as well. Suffered concussion a few weeks ago, Brownie.
Yeah, a few boys of late have had some heavy knocks.
So here it goes again. Contest was halved and ball gathered. In the end, all he could do was trickle it out.
Lewis Johnson with some early touches for the Rouge today, so an opportunity for him. Has played some Devils footy. So too Sam Green, who looks like he's starting on the wing today.
So the ball to be thrown in once more. Lee jostling just through his fingertips. It's gathered and fed out, but not far for Clarence. Out the back, worryingly, was Tepper. He drops it off, couldn't find Ponting. Tepper again tries to clean it up. Good pressure, Clarence. On hands and knees, they fight for the footy. It's going to be a stoppage.
Well, I think they'd be pretty pleased with this start, Clarence. I think the effort's been there.
So down from Wall. Ponting trying to work his way for a free kick. We've only seen North Launceston a few times, but Josh Ponting off the back of a Lynch medal, probably not at his sort of prolific best this year, Brownie.
No, I think that's a fair assessment.
Out the back now, it's Tepper. I'll get your thoughts more in a moment. The kick's going to come in for Rushton, who takes a good grab.
Well, that was a smart kick inside 50, just lowered the eyes. It might have been Bart McCulloch, was it, on the left foot there, from memory?
I think it might have been Tom Foon, but it was it worked well, didn't it, Brownie?
Rushton's that in and under small forward who, the type of player that's in vogue in the AFL over the last couple of seasons. He works very, very hard at ground level, and this is the sort of thing he needs to do to finish off his work.
Let's see how he goes, Jack Rushton. Oh no, offline.
It was an unsteady build-up in terms of that set shot.
We took
Played
a long
with Launceston
time
last
well.
season, of course.
He looked good early last year for Launceston. Fell out of favour a little bit as Bailey just nudges one. That's a good kick. Finds the skipper, Brady Jones, warming up in this one. Inboard to a fellow helmet. Holmes. So Holmes looks ahead. Back again to Jones. They'll work their way out, Clarence. They're doing it well, North Launceston, in terms of making it really hard for Clarence to transition. So Webley tries to cut something out. It'll come back in off the boot of Van Buren, and Bannister just sits under it. Must have been touched. Davies now gathers the footy, eyeing goal. He might just find Mansell instead. Across the face and offline.
Had a bit of time and space. Davies can be damaging on that left foot.
So they'll bring it out from full back again, Clarence. They're getting good practice at this. Webley, that's a good kick. Long and strong, looking for Green at the fall. He might be away here, Green. He can take a bounce. Instead, he goes to the short kick. Works well. Handing off was Wall. Chambers now inside 50. Kneeled.
That was great body use. I thought he might have even sprinted a little bit harder back to goal, but he knew what he was doing. He knew if the kick favoured him and was just able to nudge his opponent fairly underneath the footy.
It's good strength.
It's something that North Launceston might be looking at a little bit there. Their coaching hierarchy, that's the third inside 50 mark for Neil.
It's causing some problems. He missed the last one from a lot closer. He's kicked that well, though. Chris Neal with a second, and Clarence, well, they take the lead, Brownie.
Well, he should really have 3 because he ran around onto his preferred left foot with a snapshot earlier on. We were thinking maybe he could have gone with a set shot, but that's all academic now. But a good start for the Roos halfway through this first quarter. Right from the word go, we've thought their effort has been up. Their defensive side of the game, they seem to be reasonably well set up in terms of the forward line structure, having a fair bit of space in there for their leading targets. And a couple of their inside 50 kicks have really worked today, giving Neil the chance.
He's causing some headaches. We did see, if there is a weakness in North Launceston, defensively they've looked a little more fragile this year without Zach Burt.
I agree with that.
So ball's back in the middle again. Wall can just tap it down. Probably should have done better with that. Whitford drops it, gets it out though. Looking for a target, bursting through nicely. He'll kick out onto a wing. Bouncing ball. Should be able to work his way out of this, Lewis Johnson. Misses the handball. He'll go back to mop up. Well done. Comes out from Jones. He finds Cox. Cox now off the left boot. Long for Bushner. Misread it in the air, and Rick DeSolda helps himself.
Been a good player for a long time now, Rick DeSolda.
So Davies, it's not his best kick. Usually pretty reliable by foot. Dropping off. Here's the big hairy Roo. Matt Ling got a problem. Feeds it out. Be gathered by Green. Keeps it alive. He's done really well, Green. It'll come in from Chambers. Chambers now. Jackson was a little too far back to impact. Van Buren. Good kick. Finds Ponting. They're away North Launceston. Gathered by Egger. Egger deep. Looking the butt. McCulloch direction. McCulloch.
Yeah, that was a fair kick too from Egger. Both teams have been able to find some footy. When they've won it in the back half, the transition by foot and hand has been pretty good, and on that occasion McCulloch found some space to run onto. No one between him and the goal from an opposition player apart from his direct opponent, and he gets an opportunity now.
So Bart McCulloch. Can he reclaim the lead for the Northern Bombers? Quality player for a long time. That's perfect. Straight through the middle. So North Launceston regain the lead.
He's had a lot of experience, hasn't he? Played in the AFL system, a former draftee at the Brisbane Lions going back a number of years now. Has come back and played local footy, South Launceston, and then across to North Launceston, and a premiership player, and they'll look for his experience today as a tall target. A nice finish there.
They look good, North Launceston, when they're able to play on and move it quickly, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They've got some class users of the footy. Egger on that occasion, who lowered his eyes. It was a smart kick, really.
So back in the middle again. What can Clarence do? Bounce favours Bailey. He brings it down, but Bannister comes on through. Will be gathered eventually, you'd suspect, by Clarence. It wasn't. It was Davies who was caught high.
Yeah, just a little bit untidy, the tackle. Now, you can't afford to do that.
So playing on is Whitford. Whitford long and wide.
Yeah, that's knowing your opposition, isn't it? Because they look to give the ball on every opportunity for Taylor Whitford when he's running past for a handball. And why wouldn't you? He's a beautiful kick of the footy. So
they've been inaccurate, North Launceston. 2-5-17 at this point. They come along. It's gathered by Green, who's wrapped up. So 2-1-13 plays 2-5-17. Dropped down by Bailey. Kicking away was Jones, but couldn't find Bushner. Rick DeSolda's played on. He just gets his kick away, but it's straight into the hands of Bailey.
Yeah, sorry, Dummer. He's going to probably have to do a little bit of that, back into that dangerous space in front of the North Launceston forwards.
Geez, it was a sketchy kick. Sorry, Brownie.
Right.
It's led in Holmes. They might escape here, Clarence. Geez, they're very fortunate. It was just dealt with, and Chambers, not sure who that kick's meant for, but it's kicked a vacant space, and Neil's made pretty good of it. Out it goes. We'll see that kick again from Bailey. It was a shocker. Lucky Holmes arrived. He was probably thrown off it. Might have had a case for a free kick. But very scary stuff on the last line. So the ball to be thrown in, broadcast wing here at Blunston Arena. Bailey gets in best position, taps over the back, but it's straight to Whitford. Whitford now kicking long. It'll be almost cut off, but not quite, by Beerley. They wrap him up. The big hairy room climbs on top, as does Beerley. It'll be a stoppage. Defensive 50 for Clarence. 4 points in the contest. So Lee in front, taps down, trying to gather. Was Preshaw, he couldn't. Comes out the back to Beerley. He gets some help.
Good hands.
Really clever stuff. Comes to Webberley. Has to be perfect with the kick. Wasn't quite. It will be gathered by North Launceston. Tepper again tries to deal with a couple. Egger out the back. Lee just kicks it. It'll be almost gathered. Really good by Butterworth. Went in. Knew he had to do it for his team.
Gee, he scraps and fights hard, doesn't he, for a young man?
Look at that again. He let him dive on top there, Brownie. And it was Brad Cox-Goodyear coming the other way. Not many would do it. It's the big hairy Roo. Matt Ling climbs on top again. Another stoppage.
Jacob Smith a couple of times has led us that lead up forward. Hasn't been able to take the mark, but he's a nice mover, nice size at times.
So it's brought down by Bailey. Coming out the back was Riley. Pretty good stuff from the traffic, but it was straight to Ponting. Now a shot on goal, a flying one from Wadley is offline in a big way, out of full.
Yeah, they're certainly not at their best, are they, the champs, North Launceston? Trying to click in the gear a little bit here. As the Roos, a promising start for them, for a team that's just won the one game this year, Gilly. And as we said in the opener, North Launceston just the one loss. So if they can go in pretty close at quarter time, they'll have some confidence, I would have thought, the Roos.
So Edmondson, a brave kick almost for Riley. Coming across was Whitford. Clarence should work this out. It's with Jackson. Back for Webberley. Webberley now has to be good. Kicking long for Smith. He brings it down. There's Jones. Now with a big hairy Roo. Ling kicking long in the Buchner direction. Worked under it by Richter Solder, but he's at the full Buchner. Can he gather? He's got Howlett riding shotgun. They climb on top. Stoppage out of side.
What they do look like, Clarence, they're trying to move the footy as quickly as possible. Play on at all costs. Fast ball movement.
Yeah, they've let them off a little bit, North Launceston. Now it's what Clarence can do with this opportunity, I reckon, is they try to work it out through hands. Howlett, really good stuff, but the follow-up handball was not good at all. Let him Whitford, long boot. Edmondson, best position. Should pick up the footy here, Edmondson. He does enough to see it to a teammate in Beerley, who misses his target. So almost 21 minutes gone here in the first term at Blunston Arena. Ball to be thrown in. Bailey and Lee. Lee paddles down. It was well won by Riley. Now Jones finds his target. Well done by Jackson. Just shook off the would-be tackler. Kicks long, but it's all North Launceston. Foon will help himself.
You're not sure what he saw there.
Foon picks out Whitford. Whitford now, away he goes. He's got a couple of targets. Wadley with the one juker. Takes the footy. Kicking for Mansell. Couldn't quite bring it down. Tough customer Mansell though. Try to brush through a couple. Green gathers. Picks out Riley. Riley now. Looking on the outer side, he finds Harper. So Harper, no obvious target. He kicks for the coach. Webberley stands under it, makes a contest. Ponting feeds it out. Richter Solder now slipping through his fingers. Got enough class to see them through here, North Launceston. Whitford, an errant kick though. Holmes slipping through his fingers. Almost for Chambers. Coming through is Rushton. Sloppy stuff. It's gathered by Butterworth. Almost for Coxgoodyear. Climbing on top is Tepper, so it'll be a stoppage. Centre square. Scrappy on both ends there.
Scrappy for a couple of minutes there. Both teams struggling to get some clear ball movement happening.
Tell you one thing they've done well so far is Brad Coxgoodyear hasn't had a major say on the game as Bannister powers one inside forward 50. A bouncing ball will find its way out of play. So a 4-point advantage. They're in the game, Clarence.
Well, it's a promising start for them, I would have thought. North Launceston, though, will be thinking at the quarter-time huddle, we haven't played our best footy yet.
It'll come again. Edmondson this time colliding with McCulloch. Just swatted over the back by Jackson. Cries for deliberate. They were never really in the frame.
It was a shallow throw-in on that occasion, so interesting to see if the boundary umpire comes in a little bit or if players react to that and try and get at the front of the ruckman here.
I think that might be the Bev show. Might need to just hit the gym a little bit, I think. They're coming in a bit shallow as it's picked up by the big hairy root. Coxgoodyear climbs on top. And we'll go again.
He's a good dogs man, the Bev show, so I'm not going to be critical. It's windy out there.
It is windy. There's a swirling breeze. You can probably pick that up in the mics as it comes out the back. Jackson. There's Whitford for company.
At the moment, Mansell, the deepest forward for North Launceston, being picked up by James Holmes.
So out the back it comes. It'll be gathered by Bailey. It's helped out. Players aren't happy about something. Not sure what in particular.
Mightn't be a long quarter, Gilly.
Oh,
about to tick in the 25-minute mark.
I think it was pinged, Brownie. I'm not sure if that one was out in the full or legal disposal, but it's in the hands of Whitford. Most players, you'd say this won't happen. This kick for goal will not work for them, but sometimes you better not counting against Taylor Whitford. Still be a darn
we've seen him kick these before, but it might be one of those ones where he shapes the kick and then just pulls it a little bit and just sits it at the top of the 10-metre goal square. He's got McCulloch moving for him.
He's powered that one out to the left. Never really looked like it, did it, Brownie?
No, it didn't.
Out on the full. We did say it was a tough kick. So again, Brady Jones from the last line will bring Clarence out of defence. He goes short. Oh, it's landed in the arms of Coxgoodyear. Coming away from Ling. It's off the leg of Howlett and out again. So scrappy finish to this quarter.
It's been the last 10 minutes has been a bit of an arm wrestle. Either side not able to get the ascendancy.
There is a breeze. I'm not sure exactly which way it's favouring or whether it's across the ground. Ball comes in again. Bailey rucking this time. He tackles someone who didn't have the foot. He's lucky to get away with that one. Out the back comes Jackson. He's got Rushton for company. Rushton just gets it out the back as well, and streaming through for a couple of North Lonnie players, but namely the coach in Whitford, who was brought down in a tackle.
Clarence have an extra one at the stoppage here. North Launceston with Jay Foon behind the footy, loose.
So it's gathered by Bailey. He just kicks it up in the air. We're seeing the demonstration of breeze there. I think it might be going to the right of screen, Brownie, so this might be a better quarter than we think from Clarence. Short little pass finds green.
Well, I don't think there's a lot of time left in this quarter, so if Clarence want to try and get on the scoreboard here late, they're going to have to move it pretty quickly. That's not going to help, though.
No, it's not, as Jackson overshoots the kick. Coming out from Egger. It's gathered now by Tom Foon. Inboard for Mansell, who makes good of it. Threads the needle. That hurts the Roos.
Yeah, don't want to be hard on Ethan Jackson, but that is one part of his game that probably lets him down a little bit at times, and that's his disposal by foot. He plays with terrific effort. and gives his heart and soul, but lacks a little bit of polish at times. And Ryan Mansell, who didn't have his best season last year with injuries and the like, and just probably couldn't get some real form and continuity into his footy. But he's looked good this season, whether that be at Devils level or playing for club, playing more forward in an attacking role. And he's always been a very good kick, and he's a smart finisher around goals. Good finish.
Yeah, I've really liked what I've seen of Mansell so far this year. Around goal, he can be devastating at times. This one's won well in the middle. It's with Rushton. Rushton inside forward 50 now, just short of his intended target, Wadley. Here is Mansell. Sniffing around at 2 was Bannister. Good tackle applied by Mansell. Try and work it out, Clarence. Bring it down in a tackle on Whitford. So deep doors here in the first term. The siren wouldn't be far away, you'd suspect. Up again from Bridges. Just swatted down from Edmondson. Lets in Rushton. He manufactures a shot. Looking for Mansell. It's out of bounds. So
that probably suits North Lonnie.
Another goal. Probably.
Yeah, it would hurt the Roos, wouldn't it? Because to go in, nearly 3 goals down, if North Launceston were to get one from this throw-in, that would hurt.
Well, it evaporate a lot of their hard work. McCulloch rather just dealt with his opposing ruckman. It'll come out now with Butterworth. Long and strong. Bushner arrives, but he was a fair way back, and it just held up in the air.
Good for Lee.
Good player, Alex Lee. He kicks long and strong. Really good kick. McCulloch! Oh!
Well, we might have put the moz on Gilly. The last bit of play for the first quarter, and there's a big pack there. And McCulloch, a nice run and jump at the footy. Really, he shouldn't have too much trouble posting his second here, which just takes the sting out of it a little bit from a Clarence perspective. They've been better, I think, than potentially 16 points down if McCulloch kicks this one.
You'd suspect a player of McCulloch's quality will make good on this. Comes in through the middle of the big sticks, and that really hurts for Clarence. That's the ultimate sucker punch right on the edge, well, on the end of the quarter, really, Brownie, after the siren. So 2-1-13 plays 4-5-29. And, we were quite complimentary of Clarence for much of that quarter, but the end just soured things a little.
It did. That kicked 2 goals, I would have thought, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, North Launceston, just to take the gloss off it. It was a turnover from the Roos that allowed Ryan Mansell to finish inside 30 metres, and then on the contested mark, as we saw there from McCulloch. So they go in 16 points down, having not played anywhere near their best footy. I thought both teams, if we see some of the highlights at Damo at times in the first 5 or 10 minutes, I thought if they had some time and space, their ball movement and spread was pretty good, and they were able to get each other out the back with some contested marks, and some of the inside 50 kicking was a feature, giving the forwards a chance. And then we had a 10 or 15 minute arm wrestle, didn't we, for a long period of time where it was quite scrappy. Both teams really struggled to move the ball with any skill level. Such was the effort of the opposition to nullify some of that. And in the end, as we mentioned, North Launceston just broke it up a little bit, and they'll go in with a bit of confidence, really knowing they haven't played their best footy, but they lead by 16 points. But, if you're Jeremy Webberley, you would have thought, for 25 minutes, they were terrific in terms of the effort that they brought to the contest. The way they were trying to run and move the footy, I thought, was terrific. Play on, give their forwards a chance, all those sorts of things we're looking for in modern day footy. But as you know, being a young team, you've got to try and fight it out right to the last part of each and every quarter, and they were just hurt a little bit there.
I do wonder as well. It was a great mark taken by McCulloch right on the end of the quarter. You can see Edmondson not too wrapped with how that finished, given a millisecond here or there, and he probably gets away with that one. So that was the end of the quarter for North Launceston. They've got a really strong advantage, but you do wonder what sort of factor the breeze has had. Late in that quarter, there are a few kicks outside of defensive 50 from Clarence that just held up in the air, and you just wonder whether maybe the scoreboard as it sits isn't actually the worst effort from Clarence. They got 2 on the board. They would have loved to have kept North Launceston to only 2 goals themselves, but they sit there with a strong advantage. McCulloch, the chief destroyer for North Launceston, with 2 well-taken goals. And Neil's looked really good inside forward 50 for Clarence. So we'll have a brief break from commentary here at Launceston Arena. We'll be back ever so soon with the second quarter. Stay with us. Running a bit of headwear, drops it off for Webley. That's a beautiful kick onto the chest of an intended target. Good kick for his coach Whitford, who picks it up, kicking direct, looking for Bannister, bouncing away. Bannister might let it run. No, he soccers, and he soccers the first of the day for North Launceston.
Yeah,
Clarence. The kick's long, and it's Holmes' work forward, but he just guarded a bit of space that Neil across lane of 50. Important kick this for Clarence. Off the left peg, it's coming back, shaping well. Terrific kick. Chris Neal fires back for the Roos. Scores level here. Way through. Jones again. He's had a hot start. It's with Howlett. Inside 50 now. Howlett has to get the kick right. Just slips through the fingers of Harper. Harper on the outside finds Webley. Webley inside 50. A big booming boot. Nailed! Who gives it back to him. Bannister inside 50 now. It'd be a hard one from the pocket. He squeezes out a little grubber, and that's well put through by James Tepper. I'll get your thoughts more in a moment. The kick's going to come in for Rushton, who takes a good grab. Well, that works well. Handing off was Wall. Chambers now inside 50. Nailed.
That was great body use.
I thought he had some problems. He missed the last one from a lot closer. He's kicked that well, though. Chris Neal with the second. And Clarence, well, they take the lead, Brownie.
Well, he should really have 3 because
he finds Cox. Cox now off the left boot. Long for Bushner. Misread it in the air, and Rick DeSalda helps himself. Gathered by Egger. Egger deep, looking the butt, McCulloch direction. McCulloch.
Yeah, that was a fair kick too from Egger. Both
teams reclaim the lead for the Northern Bombers. Quality player for a long time. That's perfect. Straight through the middle. So back for the second term here. Clarence did well for a large part of that quarter. Just let slip 2 goals late in the term, and they're out by 16 points. North Launceston, the reigning premiers. So far so good. But Clarence, well, their endeavour's been really good, Brownie, and sometimes when they've got open space, they've cut North Lonnie apart. It's probably just haven't had enough of that open space.
No, I'd agree with that. They've actually looked dangerous when they have had the ball in hand and with some time and space. But they just lost a little bit of momentum, didn't they, late in that first quarter. Persisting with Jake Cox as that deep forward, just hasn't been able to stamp his imprint on the game at this early stage, but plenty of time for him. Bushner is going deep as well.
Yes, they've got a couple of likely types forward. Enigmatic, really, Clarence.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just whether they can fire or not. So back in the middle again, second quarter here at Launceston Arena. Bailey and Lee, down from Bailey, gathered from Weberley. Unconvincing kick, comes to Ponting. Ponting now, fed out well by Sanders. Lee just pokes and calls for a runner, and the runner is Fletcher Bennett. He's jostling there with Chambers. Chambers did well, picked it up. Made it someone else's problem. Kicked it long and strong. Sitting underneath was Foon. Quality player, Jay Foon.
Well, he's been a very good reader of the footy. Intercept marker, neat by foot.
Right on show there. He's used by foot. Exemplary. Finds Whitford. Whitford inboard. He finds a runner. Davies now looking for Tepper. It was well cut off by the youngster Butterworth. Fed out now. Just too hot for Chambers. Brad Cox-Goodyear looking for Davies. He was dealt with. No free kick from the umpire. Here goes Webberley, long and strong, looking for Cox. He needs to get into the game. Cox now gathering. Just chisels a kick. Didn't work as Richter Solder came across from his opponent to chop off.
Yeah, it's good play just to get in that dangerous space.
So Richter Solder for Fletcher Bennett. They try to make their way out. Terrific tackle, Chris Neild. He is trying his best to light a fire under Clarence.
No doubt. Has he got the legs, Damo, for this one?
It'll take it his very best, I reckon.
There's not a tall target at the moment for the Roos in the goal square, so it can be a powerful kick.
It can be a powerful kick indeed. Chris Neild, he's kicked 2 already. From 50 metres, Chris Neild, he's got nowhere near it. Van Buren helps it through for a minor score.
They could have nearly marked it there, but went the percentage play.
So Foon will bring him out from full back. Whitford had a fair bit of the footy.
Yeah, he has.
He feeds over the top. He'll work it out to Sanders. Just missed his target. Coming across was Holmes. He might have just dropped the footy cold there. Butterworth jumps in. Be thrown up. Just hugging the boundary. Broadcast side here at Blunston Arena. 15-point margin. Up it goes again. Lee out the back. Jackson rides a tackle. Good stuff. He's fed it to Webberley. It was under the pump as soon as he gathered.
So just at the moment, both teams with a player sitting up about 15 metres off the stoppage.
Lee, great hit out for Rushton, and now here's Bannister. Big booming boot. Tepper tries to just shovel his opponent under it. Here comes Tepper handing out the back. McCulloch was the target, but arriving was Beerley. He does well. Finds Chambers. So looked out there, North Launceston, but Beerley, really good stuff. A couple of youngsters here for Clarence. I'm liking their work, and here's one of them, Butterworth.
Great kick.
Fantastic kick. Finds Edmondson. So Edmondson looks ahead, and what does he see? He sees a couple of North Launceston players, and he gives it to one of them in Wadley. Wadley kicking for McCulloch.
Yeah, it looks dangerous. That's the disappointing corridor kick there from Edmondson. It's a great attacking kick when it comes off, but in modern day footy, if you've got some numbers there, you're in trouble.
So McCulloch, he's got a designated kicker in Foon who just cools the jets and finds Cox-Goodyear.
You can see what Clarence are trying to do. They're trying to be brave through the corridor, take the game on. At times their foot skills have just let them down. And North Launceston on the rebound. Another mark to McCulloch. He looks on today.
He does indeed. This man's been pretty quiet. Can this get his game going? Brad Cox-Goodyear off the left. That's a fantastic kick of the football. Expect nothing less from Brad Cox-Goodyear. Through the middle. North Launceston get the first of the second quarter.
Yeah, well, that's his modus operandi, isn't it? He's just so powerful. Good finish. And it came from a Clarence turnover on that occasion from Edmondson, who was trying to take the game on. North Launceston worked it away, and they're now out to a 21-point lead.
It's a very handy buffer, isn't it, Cam?
Well, the next goal will be pretty important for the Roos because it's been a while since Neil kicked one, probably around about the 15-minute mark of the first quarter, Gilly.
So bounce favours Bailey, but it's won by Lee. Down now, Jones couldn't gather. Coming through was Cox-Goodyear. Now it's Pre-Shaw. It's a wrestle for the footy between Riley and Egger. Big ball up again. The umpire throws it up. Lee in best position, just drops it at his feet. Gathers now Lee and feeds out for Ponting. Ponting, king inside forward 50. Had the jump on McCulloch there, did Bailey. They might have made a switch. As Chambers kicks along, looking for Green. Over his head, it falls through the legs of Buchner. It's gathered nicely by Foon. He finds Davies. Davies, a little low laser kick. Finds Wadley. Wadley, wider still, finds Ponting. So a patient build up here from North Launceston.
Butterworth sitting back in the hole. So too Bailey, so they're going to have to think their way through it.
Ponting pops it up, and that man Butterworth interrupts play, but not for too long. North Launceston still inside forward 50. Gathered by Beerley, back to his kicking. In the end, they'll take the sanctuary of a behind. It was Riley who saw it through. So they are being brave, Clarence.
Yeah, and that's what you hope they continue to do. They don't, hopefully for their sake, don't go back into the shell.
So Webley from full back, kicking for Green. Getting the ride was Van Buren. He brought it to ground. They'll feed it out. Clarence now the other way. Cox. His kick was chopped off. Neil gathers, just kicks inside a vacant 50. Didn't quite get there. His arriving was Foon. He's done that a lot. The wind howling here at Launceston Arena. It's gathered by Harper. He looks for Green. Couldn't quite gather. Whitford gets involved. Drops it off for Simpson. Now back for Whitford. The coach looking to pick out a target. It's gathered well by Ponting. Oh, out the back. Terrific from Ponting. He finds Rushton. Rushton inside forward 50. Bannister the target. Punched away. Almost there for Egger. Caught one high, did he? No, says the umpire. That might be on the footy. It is.
It was a good handball, wasn't it, from Ponting? Real class.
So Butterworth again. Liked a lot of what he's brought to the table.
Excellent year.
Butterworth, the little chiseler, just short of his intended target. Gathering was Riley, feeding out a handball. Coming through was Lewis Johnson. He was probably tackled after he got rid of it. Rushton drops off. Tepper inside forward 50 now. Bannister again the target. Couldn't bring it to ground. Trying to cop one high, I think, was Egger. He leaned into that one.
If there is an area of growth in his game, it would be his kicking Adrian Butterworth. Didn't quite hit his target on that occasion. He's let up a few times, Jacob Smith, but unfortunately hasn't been able to take a mark at this stage. But he's presented pretty well.
Quick kick coming through. Mansell's caught one high, I think.
Yeah, they're the ones that frustrate you if you're a coach. On the goal line, he's smart enough to run around here and snap this. We've seen him do this year, haven't we? Both at Devils and club level. He should be able to work his way through and kick it.
Mansell around the corner, threaded the needle, happy about it. Lets the Clarence fans know. And warning signs in a big way here at Blunston Arena. North Launceston on top.
Well, we've seen him play quite a lot this year, haven't we, Damo, at both levels. And he's kicked multiple goals on a few occasions, and he's been a really neat finish. He's got some real confidence in his kicking around goal. It's his second. Multiple goal kicker along with his teammate Bart McCulloch. So it looks like he's got more zip in his game this year. I don't know whether he's got a little bit more confidence in his body, the fact that he's playing in an attacking part of the ground. Maybe taking the game on a little bit more, but it's great to see. But this one's out to 28 points all of a sudden, Damo.
Yeah, 2-2 plays 6-6. It's getting away from Clarence quickly. They need a reply in the middle. Fighting for it was Wald. He tries to get a kick away. Standing in the way was Lee. I think he kicked Lee as he tried to kick the ball there. Watch this one with interest. Lee looks a bit proppy.
He's an important player for them, Alex Lee, because it allows them to leave McCulloch for long periods inside that forward 50.
So the hit out was virtually halved. Riley just helped it near wall. It was good tackle from Lee. Riley rides the tackle. Clarence still fighting for it here in the middle of the ground. Lee climbing on top, so he must be okay. She said a quality player in this outfit. 2-2, 6-6. Who will get the next one? It's important for Clarence. Before the ball again was Wall. Combative. His fellow ruckman Lee. It's not coming out though. Ball up again. It's won well by Wall, but it's straight to Cox Goodyear. Whitford just kicks for touch. In the air, that's a good grab, or almost taken from Jones. Didn't quite complete it. Slipping through the fingers of Davies. That's a free kick. Clarence are going to play on. Chambers long, deep, nailed the target over his head and into the arms of Foon. I feel like he's done that 3 or 4 times already this quarter. He kicks for Cox Goodyear. He was moved out of the way. A free kick, but the play continues to unfold. It's gathered by Simpson, all a bit sloppy, but as was Harper.
Yeah, unnecessary there. Starting to rack some possessions up now, the coach Whitford.
He's had a lot of the ball. He kicks out wide for Van Buren, who just waited a little too long for it. Let in his opponent. And it was well done again. I think it was kneeled. He's done some really nice things in this game.
Just lacking some natural goal kickers, aren't they, Clarence? And that's going to happen when you lose players of the calibre of Callanan and Standen. Williamson going back a few years ago now.
Handed off from Jones. Chambers inside forward 50 now. Boosting to the target. I think he got rid of his defender illegally. The umpire agrees.
He's got to find a way, Zach Booshin, to get himself involved in this game.
So Richter Salter, just a little nudger into the pocket. Work their way out. It's in the hands of Tom Foon. Next goal, all important. Inboard he heads, Van Buren.
Both teams really want to play that corridor, don't they? They're looking to try and switch in there if they can. There we go, there's another one.
In for Davies. Davies is looking the corridor as well. An attacking kick. Misses its target, slipping through the fingers of Edmondson. He climbs on top of Cox Goodyear illegally. Copped him high. Starting to get in the game a little, Cox Goodyear. And he's off as the shepherd was applied by Lee. Here he goes, Cox Goodyear, long and strong. McCulloch the target. Just misread it a bit, McCulloch. Rushed in with a crumb. Really well done, feeding out, but it's all Clarence climbing back on top. They've kept it in there, North Lonnie.
It was well done from Rushton. He didn't cough it up there on that occasion. Was able to take on the tackle, but not let the ball spill free.
So Sanders makes his way through traffic. McCulloch out the back. Whitford here was trying the outside of the boot. It was well smothered. Coming out now through Preshaw. Preshaw's kick is wide of Wall and lets in Lee. Playing confidently straight into the middle to Davies. Davies now. Van Buren inside 50. The target was Mansell. Will be fisted away by the big hairy Roo. Falls for Simpson. Simpson has Whitford all alone.
Now that is one of the better kicks we've seen today. Let's watch this here. Really smart, wasn't it? Just spot him out of the corner of his eye. Perfectly weighted.
Perfect kick. And just smart footy, really. Taylor Whitford just to find himself in that little pocket. Without anyone near him. And you wouldn't bet against him from here.
I've marked it down.
The Ken Browns marked it down. In comes Taylor Whitford for North Launceston, 7th of the day. He raises his fist. He celebrates in the pocket. Well finished off by Taylor Whitford, and North Launceston are on the march.
Well, a different player to Jay Bowden, but what they can both do is win a lot of the footy in the midfield and can go forward and kick goals. And not comparing the two, but they both bring ball winning ability when they're in the midfield, but then they're damaging goal kickers when they go forward because they make the most of their possessions. They very rarely miss. And that's his first. He'd be in the best half a dozen players on the ground, I would have thought. Being picked up by Edmondson now down forward. Just difficult at the moment for the Roos. They've gone on probably 30-35 minutes of game time without hitting the scoreboard for a major.
So up it goes again. That one will...
I reckon it was 2-1 at one point. I reckon North Lonnie maybe have kicked the last 6 here.
They have. Clarence took the lead. So it's down and into the arms of Webley. There's a whistle, though, that's going to slow him up. It's going the other way. So it's going the way of Big Al Lee, who drops it off for Tepper. Tepper kicking for Mansell. That's a good lead and well honoured by Tepper.
It's normally a good kick, Mansell.
Mansell into the pocket. The target is McCulloch. 2 hands to it, didn't complete the grab. And out it goes. So North Launceston are well and truly all over Clarence here.
Clarence trying to get Jake Cox back onto the ground at the moment. Might be time for him to spend some of his game time in the midfield, I think.
I think so. They need an igniter. Flying shot from Ponting is out to the right. So 7-7 North Lonnie have kicked. It probably could have been uglier. A lot of those are gettables. Webley doesn't strike it all that nicely. Riley tries to butter up. He's done pretty well, Riley. Comes out the back, and it's Big Al Lee. He's had a great game. He's kicking for Whitford. It was interrupted. Egger out the back of the fall. Eventually powers it through.
Well, I reckon it's smart play from the ruckman here because he was under pressure and just had to get it forward. And in the end, it was a contest. And Egger out the back, almost uncontested, ran into the open goal, but smart play by Alex Lee. A good contest there from Whitford. Allowed Egger to get one out the back. Worrying signs here now for the Roos. 41 points. I think the last 7 goals. So Clarence have just got to find some of the footy and get some confidence. Whether or not they throw the team around a little bit, it's probably a little bit too early at this stage. We've got Ethan Jackson across half forward. Like to see him in the midfield as much as possible, Damo, for his ball winning ability.
So umpire Bridges starts again. Good bounce in the middle. Coming through is Ponting, handing it off. Buchner just cut it off and got it to Jones. Here is Cox. What can he do? Cox off the left boot. Kicking for Wall. Fisted down, almost gathered. There is Smith. Drops it off for Buchner. Flying shot is good. So that's a little more like it for Clarence. Well done, Zach Buchner.
Well, that's what he can do. I mean, that was on his non-preferred side, wasn't it? A left foot snap. Looks like they've moved him out to a wing, Damo, as well, just to free him up a little bit. But watch it here. Nice, smart finish. And we've seen him at times kick multiple goals at under-18 state level using some of that athleticism, particularly when he's got some time and space. Because he has blistering pace and real power. He's a confidence player, so a good move. Probably Jared Reid made that one in terms of trying to get him out onto the wing like that.
So a good bounce in the middle again. Can they do it again, Clarence? It was down from Bailey. Eyeing it off was Bannister. Green arrives for Clarence, but feeding it out was Ponting. Just slapping it on the boot was Pearton. It comes inside forward 50, sitting under it, and it was Webley who couldn't, or Bailey rather, who couldn't complete the mark. They all climb on top. Forward 50 stoppage now for the Bombers. So North Launceston with another 4A forward, brought down from Lee. He's had a good game, drops it off to Whitford, so is he. Kicking deep, Wadley the target, takes the grab.
Yeah, just got him out the back again. Just what Clarence didn't want was a quick response from North Launceston. The answering goal looked like it's going to come pretty quickly here.
So Carlton Wadley wanders on in and puts it through. A little too easy for the Northern Bombers. They quickly shut down a Clarence revival.
Yeah, he's an underrated player, isn't he? He can, well, he has got versatility in his game, and he just found some space over the back. So North Launceston, I think I've got them down for 7 different goal kickers already in this game.
So a 41-point margin. Bannister rucking up against Bailey. Bailey down, and Jones eyed it off but didn't complete it. Coming through his Tepper, he was caught. That's a good tackle from Cox. Thrown him in the middle, Brownie.
Yeah, I think they had to. It just wasn't happening for him up forward. He just wasn't getting the supply. Now, Gone lateral here.
His kick short for Preshaw. Preshaw inside forward 50. Smith again presents well, but doesn't take the grab. Richter Solder in, weaving through traffic. Nicely done. It's going to be a free kick against Tom Foon. He got rid of his opponent, and it's that man, Zach Buchner, again, I think, Brownie. It is. No. He tried to claim it anyway. It's Lewis Johnson.
He shows some nice signs, doesn't he, young Smith? He presents up at the ball carrier. Once he gets a little bit of definition of his body and has some confidence physically, you think he could be a really nice player for the Roos moving forward.
So Lewis Johnson will take a good kick. Pokes at it. He's gone wide. It stayed alive. Kneeled, almost completed a grab. Out the back wall. Gathers, brings it down. Try and force a stoppage. They do. So it'll be ball up. Right in front of goal. Out the back, Bannister almost. He's done well, Bannister. Found space when there was none. He's just kicked that for touch. The umpire. Ping him, no. Be thrown in.
This is the Bev show, isn't it?
Yeah, the Bev show.
He's going to have to go and get the footy, is he? I'm not allowed to, the bandit umpires. Not supposed to leave the arena, Damo, so that's why he's called on a spectator there.
Need danger money to hop the fence. Here's the big Bev show. What's he got? See whether he's done some core time bicep curls just to get a bit more going. Yeah, it's decent oomph. There we go. Down from Bailey. It's gathered by Ponting. That's good vision. But Davies, he was caught and probably lucky. Feeding out was Event. Comes to Ponting again. Ponting now. Finds Wadley. He's got Tepper ahead of the footy. He tries to head there, but the ball was cut off. Green now. Gets into the path of Holmes. They ride him. It's picked up by Ponting again. Here's Tepper. Good vision out the back. Tom Foon, he's gone. Oh, he's done well. He did okay, I thought, to swivel out of it. But the umpire pinged him anyway. So Brady Jones, he's gone. Ran out of time. Good tackle from Egger. Oh, it's a bit of a comedy show, that last minute or so. He'll be thrown in. The wind howling here at Blunston Arena, as it often does. Your dog's in trouble, Brownie, or?
Look, a couple of goals down at this point, Damo. I think there's enough time for them.
Well, this man would be hoping so too. The big Bev show. In he throws it. Straight out of the ruck goes Bailey. Bouncing ball inside 50. There's a whistle.
It's going to be a free kick downfield. It'll go to Harper. He's going to have to kick from outside 50 though. He's got Ethan Jackson in the goal square.
So Harper.
North Lonnie with an extra man back.
Very difficult kick. Like you called before, they do just lack one or two natural goal kickers. And it hasn't been a problem they're used to, really.
No.
Always had Speedy standing there to rely on for his couple of games. Here is Jared Harper. Take a great kick from right on the paint of 50. Gives it a ride, but it's out to the right. So the margin, 40 points. Bring it out from full back. Here is Jay Foon. Long and in the Lee direction. Lee brings it down. Green's trying to claim a mate. He's being paid.
Yeah, I'd like to see for his confidence a really strong output from him today, Sam Green.
So Sam Green into the corridor. A kick for Jackson, but there was about three that arrived before him. Chambers now tries. I think it was a shot, but it was that wide. It's anybody's guess. So it'll be I think it's a Pearton ball or a Van Buren ball. Van Buren just pops one over the top and finds Davies. Davies now wider still and finds Foon. A lot of the key figures for this North Lonnie lineup really have got going in this second quarter. So Pearton, who's a part-time player for North Lonnie over the last few years, kicks onto the wing, and Bailey should have really taken the grab. He's letting McCulloch. McCulloch goes back for Cox Goodyear. He's gone. Good tackle, Jake Cox. Should have been rewarded, wasn't. Bannister makes his way through, kicking and off the chest of McCulloch. Cox again. He's trying to get Clarence going. Little kick. Finds Harper. Harper turns. Shakes off Bannister. Then finds Weberly. Weberly, the coach. Measured ball into the arms of Buchner. He's keen to use his athleticism. This way, that away. Long, deep entry is poor.
Yeah, it's a poor kick. I admire him trying to take the game on, but I just needed a little bit better presence of mind and decision making on that occasion. But at least he's getting his hands on the footy.
So Richter Solder finds Foon. Foon with a couple of running bounces. Off now for Brad Cox Goodyear. He feigns a handball and then goes inboard with one. Finds Pearton slipping through the fingers of Fletcher Bennett. Bennett now out the back. Finds Egger. Egger couldn't gather. He gets rid of his opponent. The ball is kept in by Cox here. He's caught one high. It won't matter as the siren sounds on the first half. Cox Goodyear not wrapped with the treatment received from Bailey.
We often see this if there's an incident at the end of a quarter. Players just like to go on with it a little bit.
Someone's in a spot of bother there, I think, for Clarence.
Yeah.
Still down, receiving some attention.
Is it Edmondson?
I'm not sure if it's Edmondson or Holmes. It's Holmes, I think. Yeah, I think it's Holmes. Edmondson I could see in the pack.
Okay, so
he's still receiving attention. I don't know that
I didn't see what happened, actually.
No. We'll see if it's called on the replay. Here we go, Cox Goodyear. He's clipped high. Edmondson. No, sorry, Holmes. We went flying back. Ash, if you can just roll that one again, that'd be fantastic because, yeah, just not sure exactly what went on with Holmes, but he looked like he copped a bit of whiplash. We'll have a look at the replay again, just quickly. So, play unfolds. Comes out onto the wing. You see Cox Goodyear arrive. He cops one high.
Was it an errant elbow or?
I think it's friendly fire, and he's.
Yeah, whether or not he's.
I think he's copped the hip of Bailey.
Yep.
Doesn't look good at all. He's just found his feet, but I reckon that might be his day done. He'll make his way over to the rooms with the rest of his teammates, but I'll be surprised if we see Holmes again.
Yeah, he looks groggy and unstable on his feet at the moment.
But the story at half-time is a 40-point lead for the Northern Bombers. Clarence 3-3-21. North Launceston 9-7-61. Well, not all the goal kickers are featured there for North Launceston because there's too many of them. Also Egger on the board as well as Carlton Wadley. So they've had, what's that, 2, 4, yeah, 7 goal kickers to date, just the 2 for Clarence, and that's been part of their struggle. Also the lack of supply inside forward 50 has been a struggle for Clarence. North Launceston really in the driver's seat here at Blunston Arena. A 40-point lead to the half. Stay with us. We'll have a brief break from commentary and be back with the second half. Clarence with a real job to do. Get his game going. Brad Cox Goodyear off the left. That's a fantastic kick of the football. Expect nothing less from Brad Cox Goodyear. Through the middle. North Launceston get.
This year, haven't we? Both at Devils and club level. He should be able to work his way through and kick it.
Mansell around the corner. Threaded the needle. Happy about it. Lets the Clarence fans know. And warning sign. It was Mansell. Will be fisted away by the big hairy Roo. Falls for Simpson. Simpson has Whitford all alone.
Now that is one of the better kicks we've seen today.
Brown's marked it down. In comes Taylor Whitford for North Launceston, 7th of the day. He raises his fist. He celebrates in the pocket. Well finished off by Taylor Whitford, and North Launceston are on the mark. He's done pretty well, Riley. Comes out the back, and it's Big Al Lee. He's had a great game. He's kicking for Whitford. It was interrupted. Egger out the back of the fall. Eventually powers it through.
Well, I reckon it's smart play from the ruckman here because he was under pressure.
Kicking for Wall. Fisted down, almost gathered. There is Smith. Drops it off for Bushner. Flying shot is good. So that's a little more like it for Clarence.
Well, they come pretty quickly here.
So Carlton Wadley wanders on in and puts it through. A little too easy for the Northern Bombers. They quickly shut down a Clarence revival.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Can this get his game going? Brad Cox-Goodyear off the left. That's a fantastic kick of the football. Expect nothing less from Brad Cox-Goodyear. Through the middle. North Launceston get...
This year, haven't we? Both at Devils and club level. He should be able to work his way through and kick it.
Mansell around the corner. Threaded the needle. Happy about it. Lets the Clarence fans know. And warning sign. It was Mansell. Will be fisted away by the big hairy Roo. Falls for Simpson. Simpson has Whitford all alone.
Now that is one of the better kicks we've seen today.
Brown's marked it down. In comes Taylor Whitford for North Launceston, 7th of the day. He raises his fist. He celebrates in the pocket. Well finished off by Taylor Whitford, and North Launceston are on the mark. He's done pretty well, Riley. Comes out the back, and it's Big Al Lee. He's had a great game. He's kicking for Whitford. It was interrupted. Egger out the back of the fall. Eventually powers it through.
Well, I reckon it's smart play from the ruckman here because he was under pressure.
Kicking for Wall. Fisted down, almost gathered. There is Smith. Drops it off for Bushner. Flying shot is good. So that's a little more like it for Clarence.
Well, come pretty quickly here.
So Carlton Wadley wanders on in and puts it through. A little too easy for the Northern Bombers. So back with the second half here from Blunston Arena. Clarence with a big job to do, Cam Brown. 3-3-21 to 9-7-61. So they're 40 points adrift with a half to play.
Yeah, 5 goal to 1 second quarter there for North Launceston has enabled them to extend this one out to a 40-point lead. So it's going to be important from a Clarence perspective that they get a response here early on in this quarter before this one gets really out to a substantial margin.
If you're the coach, Jeremy Webley, what do you do in terms of trying to shake up this game?
Well, I think they just lost their way, didn't they? And they lost a bit of connectivity with some of their midfielders in their forward line. They've tried to shuffle around a little bit. We've seen Bushner go to the wing. Looks like Cox is starting forward.
So back in the middle. Third term. Up it goes. Lee wins down. Almost for Cox-Goodyear. Lee now brings the ball away. Over the head of Wadley. Butterworth almost. Wadley gathers. Drops it off to Ponting. Here's Tepper. This way, that away. Tepper. Curling shot back towards McCulloch. He brings it down. It's gathered well by Bailey. And they'll make their way out, Clarence.
That's a good spread by Ethan Jackson.
So here is Jackson as the wind howling here. Blunston Arena. Jackson kicking towards Bailey. It was brought down well by Green. He's got to get it out now, though. It's interrupted by North Launceston. Well picked up by Harper. Green took him on. He's gone. So Richter Solder, such a solid citizen in this North Launceston lineup. I've put the commentary mockers on him there. Just short of Neild. He'll get it now from a Chambers handball. Neild looks ahead. There's a whistle. It's going to go back to Clarence. It's going to be a Chambers ball. So Gabby Chambers.
He's got no one moving for him at all at this point.
Jackson eventually does, but he doesn't opt to go that way. He just kicks and hopes, really, and Lee...
No, that's a poor decision.
Sits under it. He's had a good game, our Lee.
He's been in really good form last couple of weeks, among the best.
So Jay Fu now, Shaw by foot, finds Fletcher Bennett. No, he doesn't. Arriving was Neild. He's had a good afternoon. Neild massages it right into the arms of Jake Cox.
It'll be interesting to see what he chooses to do here, Cox. He'll elect to go the drop punt.
Well, he's one player they haven't got enough out of. A couple of flashes.
I don't think he's had a shot on goal at this point in the game.
This would be the perfect start to the second half for Clarence. Jake Cox off the left boot, across the face. Well, that doesn't help at all.
Better from Clarence, though. Neild has been one of the more prominent forwards. We saw him take 3 marks inside 50 in the first quarter.
So a little one from full back finds Van Buren. He'll spread it further. His kick was just short of Ponting. Ponting mopped it up and he'll receive back now. Back for Van Buren. So they'll move with a web of handballs. Richter Solder off for Foon. Now back for Richter Solder. Through the middle of the ground. Here they go. North Launceston. Wadley. Long and in the Whitford direction.
Well done.
Great grab. And away they move now. Oh, slipping through the fingers of Bailey. Unlike him, Wadley turns it back inside 50. Rushed in the target. Sits under it. Fist down. Gathered by Ling. Ling out the back. They'll move it out through Beerley. Just short. And allows Sanders to pick up the footy. A shallow kick. Looking for McCulloch.
He doesn't hesitate in the air, does he, Butterworth? Doesn't matter. He's prepared to back and fly in the air. It's a nice work there from young Preshaw in the back half. Shown a few signs today.
So, ball to be thrown in. Deep forward 50 for North Launceston. Trying to add further pain for the Roos. And it comes. There's one down by Edmondson, but falls for Ponting. Ponting on the board.
We have to show your opponent a little bit more respect from that. If we get a look at the replay, he just had too much space in the stoppage. There he was, lost his opponent in traffic. It was a smart kick, a banana across the body from about 25.
He's found his way into this game.
He does. I was about to say the same thing. He just works his way into the contest and regularly racks up 25 plus. And like a lot of these North Launceston midfielders, kicks goals. So not the start the Roos were looking for. Game high 45 points now.
So just go around the grounds, Brownie. Lawlell and North Hobart. 55 Lawlell, 22 North Hobart, and a tight one. Launceston have the lead out at KG5, so an upset brewing as Jackson shakes off a Ponting tackle. He's done well there. The kick has to be good for Wall. Wasn't bad, but it's let in Foon. Climbing on top of him was Green. They've kept it in the right area. Clarence, Buchner arriving. Just paddled along. Arriving was Mansell. Well done to Davies. Davies now for Tepper. Over the top to Rushton. He's got some space. He's got Bannister offering on with an acre of space. He'll pick this one up just ahead of the boundary. Bannister just paddles for himself. Opts to go the snapping effort, and he's offline.
His coach is saying he should hit the top of the goal score, I think.
Well, he was a bit rushed with the shot at goal.
He was out if the kick hit him.
Kick was pretty poor, really. It's a measured ball in for Riley. He's tried hard.
Harper moved for him, but Riley wasn't ready and settled to take his kick.
He eventually heads there, and he's cooked the kick. So North Launceston all over Clarence here at a windy Launceston Arena. Ball back in again. Bailey worked Lee out of it. Will be gathered by North Launceston, but it's going to be rinse and repeat. So the reigning champs looking the goods. Down from Lee. It's well done by Tepper in traffic. He just got it out in the nick of time. Soccering was Jackson. Picking up Harper. He had Foon for company of the Tom variety. Feeding out nicely was Simpson. To Sanders, to Rick DeSalder. He receives it back again, Rick DeSalder. Kick inside 50 is an errant one. Out on the full.
Pretty sure an opportunity here for the Roos.
So Preshaw just pops one into space. Finds Beerley. Have you seen his game, Cam Brown?
Yeah, well, he's making his way in the game, isn't he, young Beerley? We mentioned his father, Garth, played some senior footy with Clarence.
Bushner now, a sloppy bit of use. Mopping up was Lewis Johnson. Away now through Chambers. It just hit his boot. Sanders the other way, looking for Pearson through hands. He'll gather and have immediate pressure. The ball got out. Well, he's going to get a free kick, holding the man.
He's been on the fringes, Beerley, for the Roos for about a season and a half. So hopefully for his sake he can get some game time.
So Pitton over the top, and it's Wadley again.
I reckon this is going to be 50. No.
And it looks like it might be 50. We'll wait and see. A bit of remonstration.
Now.
Well, Colton Wadley's going to take his 50 regardless. They wrestle in the background. Wadley will just pop it through. So that's his second of the day. And the players behind him wouldn't even know about it. They're in a scuffle.
Yeah, well, there's some real concerns now as this one gets out to 52 points. And I reckon North Launceston have kicked 10 of the last 11, Damo.
It's getting very, very ugly.
The only thing to break that up was the Bushner snap across the body late in the second quarter. So from a Clarence perspective, they just need to get their hands on the footy. Some of the senior players, Bailey, Jones, Cox and the like, Webley. They wouldn't want this young team to get blown out by, you know, a three-figure margin.
So North Launceston flexing their muscle. Lee down for Ponting. Streaming through was Jackson. That was nice stuff. Green now in from Jones, looking for Harper.
Well done, Ethan Jackson in the middle of the ground. That's what he is so very good at. Clearance and stoppage work. And he was able to hand it off to Brady Jones from memory, and it was a nice deep kick inside the forward 50, which gave Harper a chance.
So Harper completes the grab with a juggle and pops one through. So to say they needed that is an understatement. But some brighter signs there, Cam Brown.
Well, that's their first of the third quarter, and with the 6-6-6 rule, we saw it in full operation in Damo. They had opportunities there. It was a quick, fast takeaway from the centre bounce. And they haven't taken too many marks inside 50 apart from Neild, but on that occasion, Harper, who can push forward and kick goals. Nice mark, nice finish.
So back in the middle. They need another 5 or 6 of those. There's Bridges, bounces, and it falls for Jackson again. He's starting to get himself in the game. Handed out the back. It's Beerley kicking for Bushner. He takes a mark. So Zach Bushner, he's teased today. Hasn't quite produced. Ball just worked his player under it, but North Launceston emerged with the footy through Egger. Egger to Brad Koskudya out the back. He finds Van Buren over for Davies. They're yet to kick the footy, but they've moved it a long, long way North Launceston. Sanders now measured ball just wide of Rushton. Couldn't take the grab. So Clarence have it through Chambers, who takes the sanctuary of the boundary line. So they've reinvented this North Lonnie lineup, really. Brilliant recruiting. The likes of Van Buren and Davies and Tepper, they're all quality players. Comes in again, down from Wall. Good tackle, no, says the umpire. Not a good tackle at all. It's going to be a free kick to young Sanders.
So you look to lower his eyes.
So he kicks for the pocket.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Not going to be an easy kick. Bannister, is it? It's taken it.
Yeah, it is.
Kicked the
Dakota
first
Bannister.
goal of the game. Been reasonably well held since then.
They changed the matchups. McCulloch was getting away from Clarence, but they moved Edmondson onto Bannister, and it's worked twofold for them, but they've still kicked a big score, North Launceston. Never really looked confident with that one, Bannister, a minor score. So Bailey from full back. This has been a tough part of the game for Clarence today. Moving from back to forward, been very, very difficult, and it proves so again as Simpson takes a grab. Hands over the top for Brad Cox-Goodyear. Drops it off for Ponting. Ponting back for Cox-Goodyear. Batman and Robin. In it comes from Cox-Goodyear. A powering shot.
Wow.
He's kicked a miraculous goal, Cox-Goodyear. His second of the day. Well, you'd be surprised if it was anyone else.
Well, he's probably the only man on the ground that could kick that goal, in fairness. Such a powerful left foot leg. Look at it. He's outside 50 and bang. Beautiful finish. That's why he's one of the premier players of the competition, in good form. 5 goals last week out of the midfield. Spent some time forward against the Tigers. He's become an extremely consistent player, hasn't he, at the top TSL level?
I don't recall too many players at any level, really, that you're just so supremely confident that they'll kick him from outside the arc, but he just does it so regularly that you almost take it for granted. It's going to be another stoppage right in the bullseye.
It's going to be a good test for the Roos. They've probably got 7 or 8 players that are 19 or under running around today.
So Wall wins it down. Streaming through was Preshaw. He drops it off for Buchner. Out the back to Jones. They're heading the wrong direction. It's gathered by Butterworth. One errant handball will bring him undone. Butterworth has gone in and under to win a little footy.
Having said that, North Launceston also a number of young players today under the age of 20. But they've just got those seasoned campaigners, haven't they, in that 26 to 30 age bracket, North Launceston.
So Buchner came through with a big kick, but it matters little. It's going to be a Brad Cox-Goodyear free kick.
Give him time to wind up, he wouldn't be without a chance here.
Well, if he can get a little burst here, he's every chance.
Brady Jones is too smart for that.
Goes out to the left, a big booming boot. Egger on the line, kept alive. Bannister. Wowee, North Launceston. Another 13th goal of the day.
Yeah, that's just soft on that occasion. It was a deep kick, and I think it was a smart bit of play there by Bannister. Good forward craft. Knew he had to keep it low, put it on his boot quickly. So some real concerns now for Clarence, but in fairness to North Launceston, Damo, after a pretty slow start for the first 20 minutes of this game, they've got to be happy with this so far coming on the road. They've
been very, very good. 5 players with 2 goals now, so with Bannister getting his second there, starting to really run away with this contest. Back in the middle again, one down by Wall. Whitford tackles Riley, comes out eventually. It's gathered well by Preshaw. Now with Riley again, he couldn't shake this tackle, he might be gone. Umpire gives him the benefit. 59 points, Canberra. I expected Clarence to be a little more competitive than this today, as it's down from Wall. Riley climbs on top, bouncing over the head of Egger, but it lets in Rushton. Rushton feeds out to a runner in Tepper. Tepper back for Rushton. Rushton over the top can find Mansell. Doesn't quite get to him. Bannister sniffing around again. This way, that away.
Easy.
A little dribbler. Bannister touched just as it went through.
Too easy there. Young Green need to put on a little bit more defensive pressure on that occasion.
So Brady Jones from full back. He goes long beyond the defensive arc. That's a big kick. The wind might have got a hold of it, as did McCulloch.
They're finding it hard, aren't they, Clarence, at the moment, to get any inside 50 entries. North Launceston, predominantly the game being played in their half.
Simpson a good kick. He finds Whitford. Whitford just pops it up in the direction of Lee. Didn't quite arrive in time. Gathered by Bouchner. Now he's got a problem. Mansell, good tackle. Came to Lee. Spins around. The kick lands in the arms of Bailey and he's off. You see something he likes in Smith, but the kick never got near him. Gathered by Event. It'll come back the other way from Launceston. It was almost for McCulloch. Shielded well by McCulloch. Gathered by Foon. Back inside for Pearton. Chambers interrupts, but not for long. Simpson, really good stuff. Off for Tom Foon. Now he's got a problem. Back for Pearton, who just slapped it over the top. Gathered by Wall. Wall soccers out. Right near the boundary here. Simpson again. He virtually just tried to feed it out the back with a bit of tunnel ball action. Kept moving, did Bannister. Falls into the arms of Bailey again. Can he go longer with this kick? He can, but it's in North Launceston arms. Fletcher Bennett finds Foon. He's got Davies offering, and he accepts. Finds Davies by a foot. Hands over the top to Richter Solder. There's a little bit of space and time. Back for Davies. Davies has a runner in Jay Foon. Rarely misses a target. Did on that occasion, but it works out for North Lonnie. Handed on by Rushton. Comes to Tepper. Tepper needs to bring this one back towards the goal square and can't quite.
I reckon that's a goal.
McCulloch with a fortuitous goal. It just landed in his lap and he soccers home from probably the smallest of distances.
Lecce's third. He becomes the leading goal kicker on the ground. Has been a constant threat today. Such a big target. Always been mobile for a big man. He just got his foot to the ball there. Smart play. Got a few like that over the back today, North Launceston.
So ball back in the middle again. North Lonnie have looked very, very good.
It's out to 11 goals. Still a lot of time in this game, so Clarence has just got to find a way to compete here in the last quarter and a bit.
Around the grounds, 28-point lead for Lauderdale, and the game up at KG5 is 36 Glenorchy, 52 Launceston, so a big upset brewing there as the ball's out the back, falls for Chambers. Chambers tries to manufacture a shot. In the end, it was a long thing from resembling a shot on goal out in the full.
Well, that would be an upset if Launceston can hold on now on the road without their coach.
Wonder whether that's given him the opportunity to do a bit more work in the actual coaching space. Yeah. Good ball out of defence, finds Cox Goodyear.
That's a good kick, just opens up
Van
the other side of the ground.
For Fletcher Bennett.
It's been okay, Bennett.
He's done his job, hasn't he? Plenty offering on
That's
here. Absolute commentary mockers from us.
We had Bailey, who wanted it fast, but unfortunately couldn't spot him.
Kneeled, who tries to look for Webley. The bounce kept it alive. Gathered by Event, off for Whitford. Now Jay Foon from out of defence. Great kick.
They're very composed in the back half, aren't they, North Launceston? There always seems to be a teammate they're willing to give it to in a better spot. They're away here.
Cox Goodyear feeds out for his coach, Whitford. Whitford, a little chiseler. Green interrupted it, but it's let in Mansell. Usually good around goal, a bouncing ball. Chopped off by Edmondson, out of defence now. He's got Howlett. Howlett can run away. He's got an acre ahead of him. 1, 2, 3 running bounces. Howlett in board. Strange kick, gotta say. It's picked up by Harper. He's confronted from either side.
I hope James Holmes is all right from a Clarence perspective.
Also from a
TSL
Tasmanian under 25
yeah.
perspective. You expect to see him in that team as Tepper bounds away. He was shoved in the back, so I think it might be a downfield kick.
He's going to go to Bannister.
You can probably kick it from here, Brownie. How are your dogs going?
They're back in it. A couple of things haven't gone their way.
Yeah, strange. Dakota Bannister. He's already got a couple. He's a big kick of the football. Look at that. Got good purchase on the kick. It's just out well wide to the left, so out in the full again. That's the thing today. It could actually be a fair bit uglier. They've been pretty wasteful at times, North Lonnie. It's down from McCulloch, feeding the handball out. Good hands from Sanders. Here is Cox Goodyear. Cox Goodyear, can he thread the needle? No.
Well, there's a similar angle. He was about 15, 20 metres closer this time. Wasn't far away.
14-11. It's got Messi in a big way, so they'll make their way out of defence. Clarence looking for Ethan Jackson. Good mark taken by Rick DeSalta. He's become a quality player. Whitford off now for Tepper. Tepper tries to bring it back in the direction of McCulloch. It kept on bouncing, but through for a minor score.
They have totally dominated the last 10 to 15 minutes of this game, North Launceston. Repeat inside 50 entries here. They probably, as you mentioned, let Clarence off the hook, really.
So Webley from full back, looking for Harper. The kick never gets to him.
He just read it better. I think it's the best game I've seen him play at this level, Fletcher Bennett.
Little one over top from Van Buren. He's fantastic for Ponting. So all of their big players getting involved, North Launceston. We know they fell to Lauderdale down at Lauderdale, but they're still a mighty fine team, especially when you add in the likes of Simpson and Mansell.
No doubt.
So in comes Ponting out to the right a little. The kick never really looked goal bound. Minus goal.
Yeah, well, it's a concern. What's that? 27 scoring shots to 8.
Yeah, it's a shellacking, isn't it? Absolute smacking. There's Webley from full back. His kick can't find the intended target. It finds the opposing coach in Whitford. Kicking for McCulloch now. The wind just caught it.
They just can't get it out of their back half. Clarence, they might have to do something a little bit different in the kick in here. North Launceston set up really well.
So Brady Jones nestled in the back pocket, looking along. That's a better kick, but it doesn't end in Clarence hands. Cut off again by Rick DeSalta. Rick DeSalta now for McCulloch. Worked his player under it. Oh, he's robbed him. Pickpocket. McCulloch. Another. That's his 4th of the day.
Yeah, it's a good goal, wasn't it? Just smart here. Kept his feet. Shows some nice agility on this occasion. Just presence of mind there. Laid it across and kicked his 4th. As we mentioned, he's been a constant presence throughout this game. He's had plenty of opportunities. I thought some of their inside 50 entries haven't quite worked in the last 5 or 10 minutes, North Launceston. But on that occasion, cast in the role of a rover.
They've notched the 100 points, and it's not even three-quarter time. Very concerning for Clarence. Jeremy Webley remains pretty headstrong that this team will play finals football this year. They're looking a fair way off that at the minute. So it's gathered by Bailey, straight out of the middle, kicking for Cox. Didn't complete the grab, but the fall was kneeled. Competes well. Good tackle applied. Be a forward half stoppage.
Maybe it's worth just for the last quarter trying Jake Cox off half back. Just something a little bit different. Free him up, run and carry the footy.
Don't mind it, Brownie, as Eggett feeds it out. Whitford just creative off the ground. It's gathered by Pearton, but he gave it back to the red and white. Riley now for Butterworth. And he threw the footy, so it'll be North Lonnie ball played on by Egger. Egger out for Tom Foon. He couldn't quite gather the footy. Well won by Ethan Jackson. There for Green. Drops it off for Butterworth. Now back for Jackson. Gets a few metres on his opponent, then kicks well for Cox.
I reckon he's too far out. Good kick, great kick.
He agrees with you, Brownie, and he puts it straight onto the chest of Gabby Chambers.
Yeah, I mean, this game's gone for the Roos, stating the obvious, but maybe in the last quarter it's just an opportunity to spin the magnets a little bit. Wear that from a coaching perspective if it doesn't go to plan, but maybe just see if you can get some versatility, have a look at different players in different spots.
So Chambers, the kick starts right and ends further right. They hit the scoreboard, but not in a big way, a minor score.
75 points the margin. Going to do well, the Roos, to keep this under 100.
Foon feeds it out for Lee, and then Victor Solder has his kick blocked.
That's a challenge for this developing Clarence team, I would have thought, in the last quarter for Jeremy Weberly.
Yeah, they will do well to keep it under 100. Sure, they expect to be a bit more competitive today. Ball comes in again, Lee and Wall. Almost gathered by Wall. Coming out the back is Jones. The boundary line beats all. It will be a matter of little things out of today's contest for Clarence. They'll try and take, because it hasn't been a great day. And it comes again. One down by a Wall. Pack forms, climbing on top was Richter Salter. Be another stoppage. There goes again, Lee. Down for his runners. Whitford couldn't quite gather. Well done by Butterworth. And it'll find its way out. It's just whether it's out in the full or a boundary throw-in. It seems it'll be a throw-in. So almost 28 minutes gone here in the third term. Still another quarter to run. Ball thrown in by the Bev Show. Down off hands. Comes to Ponting. He just kicks for touch. Jackson chops
lower
off.
his eyes here and pick a target.
Jackson into the corridor, and Bannister sat there waiting and took the footy. Away he goes now. Kicks to vacant space. He's got Rushton in a paddock, looking to use his leg speed. Just dishes to himself, Rushton. Pretty clever stuff. Then finds an ally, but misses the target. Egger good enough to butter up. Back through Sanders. Over the top it comes to Whitford. He's got time and space, but
Great
he's
tackle.
running.
Yeah, he tried to bite off too much there, the coach. Well done.
Jack Preshaw, I think, there, Brownie.
Yeah, it was. Really good tackle.
It's the confidence of Whitford. Just took him on. Edmondson now will bring Clarence out of defence. His kick, not great for Chambers, but made good of it. And then kneeled, couldn't gather below his knees. So dying embers of the third quarter. North Launceston really stamping themselves as...
Yeah, 6 goals to 1 this quarter so far.
Comes in again. Lee had it unopposed. Dropped it off for Ponting. A good tackle on him, and the tackler will be rewarded. Lewis Johnson. You do just wonder, they didn't pick young Sam Banks today. Oscar Proprotny, another one left out. Rubok. They could have used some of those as it's kicked over the top. Well gathered by Chambers. Chambers now inside 50. Harper the target. Did pretty well, Harper, but just didn't take the grab. Feeding out was Foon. Well done by Butterworth.
Well, they might have pushed him forward, have they?
They have indeed.
I think that's a really good move from the coaching staff, because he's, in his short TSL career, has been predominantly cross half back. This will be a good test for him. That's an area of his game that he's been developing, his kicking. No question about his endeavour and his ball winning ability. Very brave in the air.
So Butterworth, about 35-metre kick, a goal. Strikes it okay. It's home. Well done, Butterworth. Ends a pretty bleak quarter on a bright note for the Clarence Football Club. 5-5-35, plays 15-14, 104. Pretty imperious there, North Launceston, weren't they, Cam Brown?
Yeah, 69 points. That just stems it a little bit, that goal from Butterworth. But they dominated, didn't they, the last 15, 20 minutes of that quarter. McCulloch got hold of them from a North Launceston perspective and kicked multiple goals. We saw Bannister look lively on occasions. Wadley bobbed up for a goal. Ponting, Cox Goodyear with an absolute ripper from the boundary. And they've just got too much class, haven't they? The bigger bodies. Across half-back, I just thought they were very good. They're very self-assured. They don't panic. Don't take too many risks in that back half, and really measured with their ball use, and then they can release and move it quickly when they need to. And on that occasion, Clarence just broke down a little bit. They just couldn't get it out of their back half. And North Launceston, a totally dominant quarter. It's all set up, though, for the last quarter. And the challenge, I think, from North Launceston, Taylor Whitfield, they'd just like to put the foot to the floor here and see if they can have another strong quarter, kick 5 or 6 goals, and maybe potentially get this one close to 100 points. But Clarence, the challenge with a number of players under the age of 20 to not get blown out of the water here. But as we mentioned, Clarence might do a few different things coming in this last quarter just to free their team up a little bit. We saw Butterworth push forward. We've seen Boostner out to wing. Maybe they'll throw a few more players around. But from their perspective, they just don't want to be blown out in the last quarter.
That is how the game sits as we turn for the last term. We'll have a brief break from commentary here at Blunston Arena. Stay with us. And it comes. There's one down by Edmondson, but falls for Ponting. Ponting on the board.
We have to show your opponent a little bit more respect from that if we get a look at this.
They wrestle in the background. Wadley will just pop it through. So that's his second of the day. And the players behind him. Harper completes the grab with the juggle and pops one through. So to say they needed that is an understatement. Yeah, drops it off for Ponting. Ponting back for Cox Goodyear. Batman and Robin. In it comes from Cox Goodyear. A powering shot.
Wow.
He's kicked a miraculous goal, Cox Goodyear. His second of the day. Well, you'd be surprised if it was anyone else.
Well, too smart for that.
Goes out to the left. A big booming boot. Egger on the line. Kept alive. Bannister. Wowee, North Launceston. But it works out for North Lonnie. Handed on by Rushton. Comes to Tepper. Tepper needs to bring this one back towards the goal square and can't quite.
I reckon that's a goal.
McCulloch with a fortuitous goal. It just landed in his lap and he soccers home in by Richter Salter. Richter Salter now for McCulloch. Worked his player under it. Oh, he's robbed him. Pickpocket. McCulloch. Another. That's his fourth of the day. So back for the final quarter here at Blunston Arena. The result is pretty well and truly known by this point, but it's just a matter of Clarence trying to salvage something from the game, isn't it, Cam Brown, in the last?
Yeah, it is, and they've got to find something, because they don't want to be blown out here. Still plenty of footy left to be played in this season. They'll be wrapped, though, in terms of what they've been able to get into games, into young kids. That's always a bonus, but you don't want them to get bashed around. They've got Glenorchy next week on Friday night, I think, Damo.
So, ball to be bounced by umpire Sam Bridges. Straight up it goes. Well won by Lee. Rushton streaming through the centre of the ground. Feeds back for Whitford. Doesn't gather below his knees. A rare error from the coach. Coming through the youngster Sanders. It'll be a stoppage again, right in the middle of the ground. So around the grounds, Brownie, you got some scores for us?
Yes, Lauderdale 12-10-82 to North Hobart 5-8-38. That's at three-quarter time.
It looks like an arm wrestle out at KG5.
Yeah, still playing deep in the third quarter, and 17-point lead to Launceston.
Geez, he reads the ball well, Rick
He
to
does.
shoulder.
That's what they do. We've mentioned they're undersized, but they just seem to read it with their intercept marking. Foon's one that does that very, very well. Didn't find the target on that occasion.
He'll be in the mix for the under-25s, I would have
Rick
thought.
DeSolder.
Rick DeSolder. That part of his game is probably the bit where the next level will be interesting.
It's a bumper day. We've got the Devils playing, followed by the Allies, is that right? And then the under-25s, plenty of footy.
It's going to be a cracker. Squad not far away. They've sort of looking to, well, they've had a larger group in and having a look at the sort of types that feature in the under-25s. Some good players. Coming through here is Whitford. Bouncing ball over the head of McCulloch. Worked under it by Webberley. It's with Bradcock Scudger here. I think he's got rid of it illegally. No, it's gone the way of Bradcock Scudger, so he'll take his kick. About 70 odd from home. Looking for Dakota Bannister. I think that's out in the full.
Oh, has he hurt himself, the Clarence?
Off
player
Edmondson.
There? He's got his legs tangled by the look of it.
He does look a bit proppy. Getting to his feet, Edmondson.
Is there a chance here, Bannister, on the... He's going to have a good look.
What's he going to
Got
go
him down
with?
for 2-2 today.
Yeah, he could have had a day out, really. So Dakota Bannister. He's gone the drop punt. Sharp angle. And he's threaded the needle. Fantastic
Well,
from
there you
Dakota
go,
Bannister. Third of the day.
He does kick multiple goals. He's a difficult matchup. That burly, bullocking type forward who can get some separation and just gives him a different look about their forward line when he's playing down there. And to be able to get, 7 goals between a couple of the key tools down there has been a real win for North Launceston today.
He's gone the drop punt. See it again, Bannister.
A terrific kick.
It's a fantastic finish. Probably didn't get the jubilant celebrations it would if he kicked it in the first quarter.
No.
Given the result is well and truly known at this point, as we're back in the middle again. This time down from Bailey to Ponting. He's got really busy in the second half. Rushton now just over the head of his intended target. It's gathered by Preshaw. A little too hot to handle for the coach, Webberley, who tries to find Cox. Just don't know if we've seen the best of Jake Cox in recent times. Just a little bit off. I can't recall the last time he busted open a game. It's been a while.
He's been a terrific player for a long period of time. Be it Glenorchy and Clarence, dominant line-breaking midfielder and terrific goal kicker.
So he's dropped down, and it's Ponting again. Out for Tepper. Tepper inboard for Rushton. Had a reasonable game, Rushton. He drops it off. Inboard again. Here's Whitford. He'll kick this one. No,
Good
he
smother.
won't. Great smother, young Preshaw.
Yeah, he's done some nice work. finding his way in the game, young man, but all a learning curve for a lot of these young players from both teams playing in the top level competition in the state.
So the ball back in again. McCulloch, the ruckman with Webley of all people, streaming through was Wadley. Well done by Tepper, but he's run himself back into
to be gone.
the heat of the kitchen.
So the Roos effort has been okay in the last 5 minutes.
So young Sam Green played a bit of devil's footy earlier on in the season. He wanted to get back into that side. It's a poor kick from deep in defence, but made to look okay by Bailey. Now with Riley over the top, just swatted and dealt with by Lee. Whitford shakes off one, pops it up in the air, and Green should have this.
Wasn't his best kick, Whitford, but he just never panics with ball in hand. He holds on to it.
So Jones from half back takes a bounce. Kicks for Neild. It looked like being Neild's day, but he just hasn't seen enough of the footy in his vicinity. He kicks for Jones and they move it across the ground. Lewis Johnson now for Green.
It's been a pretty good build-up here for the Roos. This is the kick you got to hit. Nope.
It was looking like being one of their better passages, but it's all about that $1 million kick into the forward line. It's swatted away by Rushton. Falls for Green again. Now Jones. He goes with a deep booming entry. Looking out the back again. Smith presented pretty well, but didn't bring it down. Been the story of his day at the full. It's a good tackle applied by Harper.
Maybe just get him out to wing, free him up a little bit. Because I thought and we've seen that in his short career, one of those forwards who leads up.
So ball back up again, one down by Lee. Been pretty dominant in there. In the ruck stakes. I reckon it was this time-ish last year, Cam Brown, where Clarence might have upset North Launceston.
Right.
I reckon Bailey was central to it.
Enormous game that day.
He's probably just a little bit off that form.
Yeah, he is. I think he was pretty much thrown into the ruck due to the unavailability of Wade Ball. I think there was an injury, and gee, he had a terrific season. Real purple patch at one point.
Here's Riley trying to feed out a handball. Rushton sniffing for the footy. They climb on top of him. Jacob Smith. Do you think they'll persist with Jacob Smith forward in the weeks?
I think you've got to. It's not easy playing in a Clarence team which is still finding their way, and goal kicking power is something they've been lacking this season. As we mentioned, they've only kicked over 100 points once this year, albeit that against North Hobart. They're setting themselves up pretty well, North Launceston, though, aren't they? They've got the bye next week, Damo.
Yeah, no, they're not going anywhere, North Launceston. Some people predicted the fall of North Lonnie this year.
Matter of fact, I think they'll have a couple of weeks off, won't they, with the long weekend.
Yep.
So they get freshened up, and then I think they've got Launceston on a Friday night in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah,
it's a mini break, really, for them, but I think that'll be 7 out of 8 for them. So well placed for a top 2 finish.
So it's one down from Bailey. Out the back is Neild, flying shot. Out in the full. He's been hit or missed today.
Yeah, he has.
Chris Neild. So from full back, they play it short. Simpson now over the top to Van Buren. I like Van Buren as a player. It's well worked from Mansell. No, it wasn't, in fact. He missed his handball. Here's some better Jake Cox magic. Just short of wall. Does well to shake off the tackle. Looks straight at the sticks and misses them.
Can't buy a goal at the moment, the Roos.
They can't.
Just kicked the 5 for the game. 2 pretty early on in this contest.
Would you have, I know they lost to Lauderdale, but would you have North Launceston premiership favourites?
That's a good question.
As the ball comes out of defence. It's gathered by Alex Lee.
I think, Lord, the loss of Boscott's a big one for them, isn't it? They've been building, I would have thought, the Eastern Shore team now for a while, and this is probably their time.
If they're going to win the flag, you'd suspect it'd be this year, and of course, as just pointed out to you, the inclusion of Dodge is a big one.
That's right. So that's going to make them better.
So handed over the back from Sanders. Here's Whitford, coach of this North Launceston outfit. He'd be happy with how things are unfolding, but he wouldn't be happy with that kick.
I've got those two slightly ahead of Glenorchy at this stage, but I wouldn't rule out the Pies.
Well, injury's just such a big factor with Glenorchy. It's cooled their season when you factor in they lost probably their best player of last year in the first couple of rounds. And then they've lost their coach in Braden Webb as the ball comes inside forward 50 again. Good tackle applied by young Preshaw. Yeah, just players you can't really cover. But they've had a couple of handy ins as well when you factor in Webster in the lineup. I think it's going to, we're a long way from the finals, but it's going to be an interesting final series as Whitford tries to shake off another tackle. He's caught from both sides.
Some of the tackling in the last quarter has been good here from the Roos. They haven't allowed North Launceston to break it open in the first 10 minutes of this quarter.
Little one from Preshaw finds his coach, Webley, measured ball in the arms of Cox.
I think one of the difficult things with the young boys in the Devils program, it must be hard for the clubs. They don't see a lot of them, and then they're asked to come in and play when there's a break at the moment with the Allies. Come back to that in a moment.
So Green almost for Jones, couldn't quite complete the transaction. Hands over the top to Chambers. Chambers looks ahead. Looking for Harper, almost got to him, is cut out by Edgar. Riley just rides the tackle. Harper looks around, doesn't find anything he likes. In the end he does, with Bailey in a little pocket of space. Bailey now, long and strong towards the goal square. The wind!
I reckon he wanted to centre that.
I'm pretty sure you're right, Cam Brown. The wind has done wonders for Bailey. That is a terrific goal. I'm not sure he meant it, but you'll take it.
Yeah, first goal of the last quarter for the Roos, and a good response for them. They've just got to fight this one out. But as we were saying, Damo, we see a lot of these boys predominantly don't train at club level, so it must be hard at times to understand the leading patterns and the structures of their team when they come back and play in this situation.
Well, it's something that Jeremy Webley's spoken about, the management of the Devils boys, in terms of how many do you bring in, how many is too many. And then you'd be tempted if you're Jeremy Webley, because they're quality players. There's a reason they're playing Devils, but it is hard to get that synergy when you've got so many. I guess it's a good nod to the club that they're producing good talent, but yeah, it is. It's a difficult one. Is it on the outer side and seen out?
Dogs closest they've been for some time, Damo.
Starting to get a bit toey, are you?
I said they'd win, so didn't know what was going to happen during the week, of course. The AFL would have, but...
Forever the conspiracy theorist. Down it comes. Butterworth around the footy at the minute. It's picked up well by Whitford through traffic. Just slapped on by Lee. Good stuff here.
Yeah, it's terrific ball movement, isn't it? Look at him.
Goodyear off for Egger. Egger now completing the chain with Sanders. Good kick for Mansell.
I'd like to see him go back and kick this. He's an unselfish player, though. He'll give it off.
Just as he said, he did give it off. Green arriving just in time.
He probably could have gone back and kicked the goal. He's annoyed with himself there. But, gee, it was slick ball movement from North Launceston. Hard running on the spread. Hasn't quite clicked into gear for them in this last quarter, but they've been pretty impressive of the champs.
So the ball to come in again. over the head of McCulloch. Manufacturing a shot was Cox Goodyear. It's somehow bounced its way in and then out again.
I think and the challenge for Clarence in the second half of the year, just to try and get some synergy in that forward half of the ground. We'll be looking for a consistent goal kicker to come through in the second half of the season.
So the ball to be thrown in again. You're right. Geez, the Dogs are back in a big way. 2-point margin to North Melbourne. As we're back with the live TSL action. A flying shot from Bannister. Didn't even end in a minor score or a goal. Instead, it just bounced into a vacant pocket and out for a throw.
The focus here, Damien, for this last 15 minutes, both teams.
You can be forgiven as the ball comes in again. Weberly takes it out of the ruck. It's a makeshift ruckman. Out the back it comes to Sanders. Done some okay things, Sanders, to Ponting, to Whitford. Eyes in the back of his head. Bannister finds Egger.
Yeah, that's just being predictable. Your teammates just turn around and kick that.
Egger plays on and kicks the goal. That's his second of the day. Am I correct in saying he's their sixth multiple goal kicker?
Yeah, Cox Goodyear, Bannister, McCulloch, Mansell and Wadley all with multiple goals today. And that was an easy one, wasn't it? Bannister just laid it across his body. So a challenge now because we were out to, what's that, Damo? 87 points.
They've got to keep it under the 3 figures, don't they?
There's plenty of time for North Launceston.
Have a look around the grounds. Just wait for this to load up. A big win for Lawler, 103-47. They're well on their way there. As Cox takes it out of the middle, manufactures a kick. Bounces just ahead of Harper.
Oh, it's easy
and out
game,
the back,
isn't it?
it's Bailey. So that was really quick stuff from Clarence.
We've done that a couple of times today. We saw one, who was it, Harper, I think, in the third quarter, and they were able to get the centre bounce clearance. And, you know, this day and age, you're unable to get some players back with the new rules, and we saw it in vogue on that occasion. And Bailey, predominantly a defender, but gets on the scoreboard.
So Clarence, that helps their cause of keeping under the 3 figures. So just look at around the grounds, and it looks like Launceston are going to record an upset win.
Well, that's a terrific. That's one of the. We know Glenorchy got a lot of players out, but for their confidence, Launceston, that's a great result.
Whitford out of the middle now, farms it out to Ponting. Ponting from about 55, just over the head of Lee. They keep it alive, Clarence. They may be made to pay for that. They are not.
Is that Egger again on the left?
Egger misses.
Well, they've actually missed a few easy ones. 33 scoring shots to 11.
They've been pretty wasteful, really, in what is still a barnstorming win.
Won't get any easier for the Roos. Looks like they're going to get the Pies on the rebound Friday night.
So dropping off was Wall. Comes to Ling. He squeezes out a kick. Here's Chambers. Chambers now for Lewis Johnson. He finds Bailey. He's got a problem now, Bailey. Slaps it on the boot. Harper arrives. Standing under that was Mansell. He's done well for his team as Wadley feeds it out. Richter Solder off for Van Buren. He now finds Ponting. Ponting, measured pass. Is a good pass.
His opportunity to get his 5th here. That was a beautiful kick. Just lowered the eyes. I'm not giving Clarence an out, but they have lost a lot of experience in the last 12 months.
Well, Standen
Castle
for
now
me,
retired. Standen, Cullen.
massive loss. To lose both of them in quick succession is it's a massive loss.
Now there's a player coming off injured here for North Launceston. Looks in a bit of trouble too. Being assisted by a couple of trainers. Maybe a lower leg injury.
But McCulloch gives it a ride. Minor score. Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. I think it might be Tepper. We'll see in a moment.
Wadley, is it?
It's Wadley, Carlton Wadley. So he's had a pretty good afternoon too. It'd be disappointing. That's a huge kick for full back. Went off the ground.
90 metres.
It's passed off from Whitford to Simpson. Now Sanders. He's going to be a good player, you can tell. Sanders for Bannister. Bannister, just a little one for Cox Goodyear.
Look like they've got the mix right, though, North Launceston. We know some celebrated company going out of that premiership team last season, but they've been able to target the lower tier competitions, bring in some youth, and they look a pretty well balanced team for mine.
They do. And this man is central to a lot of their good work. Brad Cox Goodyear for another. So he has 3 on the board, Cox Goodyear. And he's leading his North Launceston team to a big win.
Well, he does it with monotonous ease, doesn't he? Seems whenever we watch him, Damo, you can chop him down for 2 or 3 goals and 25 plus. Makes him, for mine, in the top 3 or 4 players in the competition.
Oh, he'd have to be. Fantastic player, Brad Cox Goodyear. They've notched 130 now.
I think at under 18 level, probably wasn't at his best, one of those late maturers, but spent some time away, didn't he, from TSL footy?
You wonder if he could have spent a little bit longer in the VFL, what could have been for Cox Goodyear.
Yeah.
Geez, he's got some attributes. It's down from Lee. Goes by Lewis Johnson. He feeds out, looking in the Riley direction. Over him, in fact. And just Foon just
He
swallows
does well,
it.
because he's often undersized.
That's the
A regular team of the year, isn't he?
Oh, you need to put his name down before the season starts. He's a fantastic player, Joe Foon. So Lee now to Van Buren. Van Buren over the top for Tom Foon. Finds him. He's got Davies and Tepper who are offering on, but he heads for McCulloch. Can't take the grab at the fall. He's got good,
front
yeah.
and square. Now, if we
4 goals, Brad Cox Goodyear. Excellent crumbing.
But just watch him here. If we get a chance on the replay, he just knew where to be. He positions himself. He turns around, treads a bit of water, and look at him, perfectly placed, clean below his knees. Easy finish for him, of a player of that calibre.
Can they keep it under the 100-point mark? Brad Cox Goodyear with a couple in quick succession. Well, your Dogs trailing by a point.
I did hit the front at one point.
It's game on in a big way there. Not so much here. As the ball's bounced, and they'll have to have another crack at that one.
I think the percentage coming into this game too was really high, North Launceston.
They just get so many looks at goal, don't they?
They do.
It's down again. The big question mark will be how that defence stacks up against a team like Lauderdale with a lot of avenues to goal, as the big hairy Roo sends it inside forward 50. Out
Well
the
done.
back.
Good boy.
Jacob Smith gets a goal.
Yeah, it hasn't been his day today, Jacob Smith, but he gets on the scoreboard. Neat finish. Players are real adept now at just those kicks across the body, Damo. Didn't panic. Nice.
Lovely finish. So back in the middle again. Pretty chilly here at Blunston Arena. The wind howling through. Bombers will hit the highway with 4 points. A fair bit of confidence heading into a couple of weeks off. It's going to be fascinating next time they come up against Lauderdale. That one plays out as Lee. A big booming fist out of the middle. It's picked up by Preshaw. He was caught high, so we get a free kick. It's almost tick into 24 minutes gone here. He just kicks out in front of the space for Jackson. It was gathered by Egger. He found Cox Goodyear, and he's rarely caught, but he was on this occasion by Jeremy Webley. So the coach, measured pass is a good pass. for Ling. Ling now inside, forward 50. Bailey didn't take the mark. Led Foon to the footy. Out the back it comes. It will be gathered by Ponting.
Good feed.
Beautiful feed for Davies. He finds Fletcher Bennett over the top. Jay Foon's got a problem. Able to negotiate it. Found. Targeting Mansell to the feet of Bannister. Just kept it moving, Bannister. Mansell got rid of Ling. Bit of niggle on behind play. Tepper now. Winning the footy. He's got Green on top. So Ling and Mansell into each other behind the play. No love lost there by the looks.
Is he going to play for a kick or not? No. He's blew his whistle to stamp his authority. Mansell will go back. There you go. It's always going to happen. He's a tough customer. Brave as they come.
Always seems to be in the thick of that sort of stuff. Beautiful hit out for Ponting. Ponting inside forward 50 now. Bouncing ball. McCulloch got rid of his opponent, but Buchner's there for Clarence. Out the back he goes. Pre-Shaw, good kick. Finds Green. Green now has to be sure by foot. Just short of his intended target. In trouble. So he'll come back for North Launceston. Sanders tried to gather, just lost his bearings a bit. Comes from Chambers to Riley. Riley drops it off. Kick now is not good. Davies dropped one he should have taken, but he's just caught high, so it's going to go the way of Davies. So that kick not great at all, meant for Ponting.
I might hold off this 100-point margin, Gilly. The Roos.
It looks like it, doesn't it? Looks like your dogs are no good here, Brownie. Ball comes in again. Back to this TSL footy. Wall and Lee. Lee just worked Wall off it magnificently. Dropped it down for Tepper, who had a problem straight away. Wrapped up by young Howlett. Probably need a few more seasoned bodies in this team, Clarence. You just think maybe just a little bit too exposed with too many youngsters as Rushton over the top for Lee. He's well tackled by Wall. So what's the scenario there, Brownie?
It's going to have to be good.
So feeding out was Lee. Came to Egger. Egger now on the wing.
It's getting dark here, boys. No lights on.
He's getting dark. Not long left. Been a gloomy day, really, for the Clarence Footy Club. So 89 points the margin. Back in it comes. Down from Lee. He drops it off. Streaming through was Tepper. Somehow got it out. Ponting terrific by hand. Found Egger. His kick not great. Green. He's done some pretty good things. Looks ahead. Crowder wing. Out the back, Rick DeSolda rides the tackle. It's gathered by Harper. Harper has Jones all on his own. The kick picks up some steam thanks to the win. He kicks for Cox. Cox finds Harper.
Votes today for you, Damo, or not? No votes?
Yeah, good question there, Brownie. I'm happy to have a dip at the votes. So Harper now. Crosses the paint of 50. Just would be hard votes to give out, to be perfectly honest. Harper hasn't struck that nicely at all behind. So I'll have to bring it out from full back here. Van Buren. Lovely for Foon. Foon over for Rushton. So we'll move it out of half back easy. If we're talking votes, I can probably start to speculate this bloke might feature. Ponting been really good in the second half. Commentary mockers again. Here comes Harper over the top for Riley. Riley now this way, that away. Looking for Howlett. He'll be able to mop it up himself, Riley, but he gave it to the opposition. Tepper breaks away, finds Davies. Davies off now for Sanders. He finds Mansell. Mansell, he's got McCulloch on his own and finds him.
He's been pretty dominant too today, the big man. He'll get an opportunity. What's that for goal number 5?
It is.
Just found some space. He's been good at ground level as well.
So there we see McCulloch, strong hands. So McCulloch kicking for goal number 5. Being the pillar of their forward line today, that's operated at a pretty high level. 6 or so multiple goal kickers. In comes McCulloch, never looked like missing. He's had a good day. As Bart McCulloch, 5 on the board, spearhead of this impressive North Launceston forward line.
Yeah, 94 points now, deep in to time on in this last quarter. And really, apart from the first 20 minutes of this game, they've been dominant, North Launceston. Ball movement's been slick. Maybe some of the connectivity inside 50 and a little bit wasteful at times in front of goal, but plenty to like about what they've done today.
Another one for the Roos. Curtains.
Gone.
Disappointing. So the ball bounced in the middle again here. Lee helps himself off for Ponting, who's had a stack of the footy. Siren sounds. Full time here at Blunston Arena. A massive win for North Launceston. They again flex their muscle in this premiership defence. 21-16. A whopping amount of scoring shots. Cam Brown, 142. Just avoid the 100-point margin, Clarence, 7-6-48. Outside of the first 15 to 20 minutes, they were unbelievable, North Launceston.
They were dominant, weren't they? And once they got their game going, they were very, very hard to stop and always looked dangerous for mine and had a lot of good players, didn't they? Cox Goodyear with, 3 goals in the end, was really strong. I thought Whitford early on in the game in particular looked dangerous. Bannister plays a role for them up forward. Foon and Richter Solder down back, I thought were really solid contributors. Wadley's an underrated player. We saw Edgar Ponting. The more the game got on, the more the game went, the better he got. And Lee has been in some really good form from the ruck. And some of the younger players also were able to, get some possessions and feel, I guess, and gain some more confidence playing at the top level, because we mentioned there's a lot of youngsters from both teams running around today. But North Launceston did what they had to do, didn't they, with a 94-point win. Clarence, we just see the goal kickers on the screen there. Neil looked lively, didn't he, in the first quarter? They just couldn't probably get it down to him. He looked their most dangerous forward. But they're sadly lacking some natural forward craft in the front half of the ground, the Roos. And a difficult task for them to come up next Friday night against Glenorchy. They weren't helped with Holmes being off essentially for the whole second half. And they just lost a little bit of structure, didn't they? And their confidence in their ball use. But you can see what they're trying to do from a Clarence perspective. But North Launceston pretty well placed with a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, I might have a crack at the votes this time out, Brownie, which is probably a first, to be truthful. But I generally throw someone under the bus. But, geez, it's a difficult set of votes to give. I would give a vote to Jay Foon. I liked his game off half-back. Bart McCulloch, I would give the 2 to. I just thought he really set them up early on in the game. I liked how he presented, and then the 3 could go a range of ways, really.
We do different things. So.
There's Cox Goodyear, there's Whitford. I like Ponting's game. I'd probably go the way of Taylor Whitford. I like the way he set up the game for North Launceston. I thought he was phenomenal. Cox Goodyear and Ponting came into the game later, but I thought from sort of start to finish, Whitford was pretty darn good. But to be honest, you could have dished out the 3, 2 and 1 across probably 10 players. They were very dominant.
Well done, Damo.
So they're the votes, and that's the equation. 21-16, 142 to 7-6-48. A massive victory for North Launceston. We hope you've enjoyed today's coverage. We'll be back next week with another live stream. Bye for now.